in this game, and if he can provide some much-needed depth for this team, because that's exactly what is needed for the Orleans Firebirds in this ball game is, depth and just some sort of normalcy early on in the game. Luckily, so far this year, the Firebird pitching against Chatham has been phenomenal. We'll see if that can carry over again tonight with Shea Smitty on the bump.
So like you talked about, Shea Smitty getting the ball for the Orleans Firebirds. His first start of the summer. His team leading 12th appearance. On the other side for the Chatham Anglers, it's the right-hander from Pittsburgh in Dan Hammer.
Yeah, and Dan Hammer, an interesting season so far for him. 4 games so far, just 1 start. He's 1-0 in 16 innings pitched. His ERA is very strong at 1.68. 16 strikeouts compared to just 3 walks. Hasn't pitched in 5 days. Got a no decision at YD where he gave up 3 earned runs in just 2 2/3. And so a guy who's been strong in the CCBL, did get roughed up a bit this year at Pitt, especially against good ACC competition. So we'll see if this lineup tonight for Orleans, which we'll talk about in a moment, featuring a lot of Louisville Cardinals, we'll see whether or not they can get to another ACC guy in Dan Hammer.
Couple ACC right-handers going at it tonight here on a Friday night on Cape Cod. Braden also recently for the Firebirds. They're coming off 3 straight victories over Chatham. They've pretty much been resounding victories, really a win Orleans can count on this season. What do you think needs to continue for the Firebirds to keep that up?
It's very interesting. It's basically been the Firebirds against Chatham is a different ball club than almost every other game we've seen the Birds in so far. The pitching's been excellent. The hitting has been timely. So, I mean, they just got to keep doing what they've been doing against this Anglers team. I don't know if it's a rivalry or just pure luck, but it's happened now 3 times, and a win tonight clinches the season series against a team that's currently 2nd in this division. So the Birds have looked very comfortable and confident against Chatham, and at a home game on a beautiful Friday night, like you said, I'd expect that to continue again tonight.
So we'll see if that continues tonight for the Firebirds. And as we get a little closer to first pitch here at Eldridge Park, Braden, we did it yesterday even though we weren't on the air. We put up a nice video on our social media. I encourage you to check that out at Firebirds CCBL. But on top of that, Braden, you know what the deal is. It's time for the Bird Watch. Give me 1 player on the Orleans side, 1 on the Chatham side. Who's going to shine tonight here at Eldridge?
All right, we'll start for Orleans, and I'm going with a hitter that has looked very comfortable. Actually got moved down in the lineup tonight because of the changes. I'm going with Pat DeMarco, center fielder for Orleans. He's looked pretty comfortable recently for the Birds, and I expect him to have a solid game hitting behind Nick Osborne. Not a bad spot in the lineup to be. I expect DeMarco to reach base a few times, maybe get a stolen base or something like that for Orleans. And for the other side, for Chatham, I'm going to go with a guy that's struggled so far against Orleans, but he's so dangerous on the base paths and a very solid defender as well, Greg Jones. He's batting 2nd for this Chatham team, so 2 speedsters, if you will, in DeMarco and Greg Jones. He leads the league in stolen bases. He'll get another one tonight for Chatham.
All right, we'll see if that all transpires here between Chatham and Orleans. And Braden, I know we normally give the lineups on the other side of the break. Tonight we're going to do it on this side, and there's very good reason for that. It's all the changes in this Orleans Firebirds lineup. Leading things off, the first baseman, Logan Wyatt, who's hit cleanup 25 times already this season, hitting in the leadoff spot for what he said was the first time in his life. Batting 2nd, the second baseman from Arizona State, Carter Aldretti. Hitting 3rd, the right fielder, J.J. Boudet. Batting cleanup and playing DH, Nick Osborne. Center fielder Pat DeMarco hits 5th. Phil Clark, the catcher, bats 6th. Third baseman Justin Levy will bat 7th. The left fielder Matt Frazier bats 8th. And rounding out the order for the Birds is Sal Gazzo. Braden, what do you make of the changes Kelly Nicholson made in this Firebirds lineup?
Well, it's certainly very interesting. As we were mentioning earlier, this lineup has been producing for Orleans, but the change coming regardless. Logan Wyatt, the guy that gets on base most for this Orleans team, so in that aspect it makes sense, but it certainly is kind of striking to see him in the leadoff spot. Our Eliav Gabay will obviously ask Skip about this in the 4th inning interview like always, but yeah, it's interesting, it's innovative, if you will, and I'm excited to see how it works out, having a kind of power guy in Logan Wyatt lead things off, and then you still have a punch in Nick Osborne, who has been hot, had another home run last night, hit 4th yet again. It's an interesting lineup, no doubt.
We'll see how that transpires for the Birds. There's also an interesting lineup on the other side for Chatham. 6 left-handed bats in the lineup, including a switch hitter, would make it 7 for the A's facing the right-hander in Smitty. Let's give you the Chatham A's lineup. Leading things off, the center fielder John Rave. Greg Jones, the Bird Watch of the day, man's shortstop, and will bat 2nd. Second baseman Michael Bush hits 3rd. DH Drew Mendoza in the cleanup spot for Tom Holliday and the Chatham A's. Hitting 5th and playing left field is Colin Simpson. The first baseman Kyle McCann bats 6th. Playing right field and hitting 7th is Blake Sable. The third baseman Jorge Arenas bats 8th. And rounding out the order for the Chatham A's is Jake Taylor, the catcher from Oklahoma State.
Yeah, and this Chatham lineup, although they've looked very, very bad against Orleans, to put it frankly, they're very dangerous. They're second in the league in home runs, sixth overall in runs, but they're a team when they reach, they're very aggressive on the base paths. They've stolen the most bases in this league, and they've been quiet so far against the Firebirds, but I'd expect them to kind of come out with a chip on their shoulder tonight. It's not fun to get beat up by the same team 3 times, and obviously they don't want to happen a fourth, so I'd expect Chatham to come out with a bit of a chip on their shoulder tonight against Shea Smitty and the rest of the Firebird team.
So we'll see what happens here at Eldridge Park between the Firebirds and the Anglers. The 4th meeting this summer between Chatham and Orleans. When we come back, we'll be ready for first pitch here at Eldridge Park. You're listening to the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. The Orleans Firebirds look to get back on track as they take on the Chatham Anglers here at Eldridge Park. Josh White and Braden Bell on the call for the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network and our inaugural Friday from the Hill. Shea Smitty on the mound for the Birds, set to take on Dan Hammer from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and Shea Smitty, first start of the summer for Orleans. He leads the team in appearances. This will be his 11 2/3 innings so far, 11 hits, just 3 earned runs, 8 walks compared to 15 strikeouts, and he has been in a major rhythm lately for Orleans. So it'll be interesting to see how things change, if at all, with Smitty starting out this ball game as opposed to coming in from the bullpen like he has the first 11 appearances for Kelly Nicholson.
We'll see how Smitty can do tonight, making his first start of the summer. Started a few games this past season at Louisville. We'll see how he transitions here on the Cape. So the center fielder from Illinois State, John Rave, will dig in from the left side for the Chatham Anglers. All about set for baseball here on a gorgeous Friday evening here on Cape Cod. Birds wearing the Friday night military red uniforms with camo caps. Chatham with their road blues with gray pants and white lettering. First pitch from Smitty to Rave. Fastball on the inside corner at 7:02, and we're underway and off and running at Eldridge Park. Rave, the center fielder from Illinois State, playing in his 28th game this summer. 0-1 pitch misses outside, and that evens up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Rave batting .320 so far with 2 home runs and 9 RBIs. Righty on lefty matchup. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Fastball on a line, past the diving Logan Wyatt and into right field for a base hit. And John Rave gets things going for the Chatham A's, and he's aboard with a leadoff single.
Just the way you want to start if you're Chatham, a team that's really struggled offensively against Orleans so far. A ringing base hit off the bat of Rave. And you hear often how it's different from starting as opposed to coming out of the bullpen. Really one of the biggest reasons why is you can psych yourself out if you're a pitcher thinking about being the starting pitcher all day long or whenever Shea Smitty was notified. Whereas if you're a bullpen guy, you find out, then immediately you start throwing and you're in there right away. You don't really have time to stress. So it's really in the psyche that could affect Smitty tonight.
So now Greg Jones digs in from the left side. First pitch bunting and fouls it back to the screen for strike 1. The shortstop from UNC Wilmington batting .264 with 3 home runs and 6 RBI. Through 22 games played, Jones missed a couple of games due to a knee injury. Rave leads off first base. He's stolen 4 bases this summer. Smitty working from the stretch. Here's the 0-1. Fastball pitch out to the catcher Clark, and that misses outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Jones, a switch-hitting shortstop, 6'1", $180, originally from Cary, North Carolina. Going off a 1-for-4 night with a couple of strikeouts. Rave leads off first. Smitty comes set. He's going to check on Rave, who dives back in safely. No score in the early going between Chatham and Orleans, the 4th time these two Eastern Division rivals meet in 2018. 2 rivals separated by less than 10 miles down Route 28. Right-hander comes set at the belt. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Fastball tipped into the glove of Clark, and Smitty jumps ahead 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Good pitch that time to Greg Jones, a guy who missed a few games with a wrist injury, and he is a key cog for this team. Not going to do it with his power per se, but because of the stolen bases, he's always a threat to run, and also defensively, if you bobble a ground ball, he's going to reach.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. Fastball up and away, and that'll even up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Shea Smitty making his team-high 12th appearance this summer for the Firebirds, 1-0 in those appearances with a 2.31 ERA. He made 4 starts this past year for Louisville. Right-hander comes set. Here's the 2-2. Breaking ball waved out and missed strike 3. Smitty fans Jones for the first out of the ball game.
Great pitch that time for Smitty, going to the changeup after pounding fastballs in consecutive pitches to Jones. He was way out in front of it, had no idea it was coming. Strikeout number 1 for Shea Smitty.
So Michael Bush, the left-handed hitting second baseman from North Carolina, digs into the box. Chatham and Orleans scoreless here with a 1 down in the top of the 1st. Rave leads off first base. Smitty comes to his set. He's going to check on Rave over at first. Nothing doing. Bush batting .306 with 2 home runs and 8 RBI through his first 10 games played for the Anglers. One of those home runs coming last night for the left-handed hitter from North Carolina. First pitch. Breaking ball that misses low in the dirt. Ball 1. Chatham Anglers lineup featuring 6 left-handed hitting bats for the A's, including the switch-hitting Jones. A couple of ACC guys going at it right here. Right-hander Smitty comes set. Nods the head. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Rave running. Fastball upstairs. Throw down from Clark to Gazzo. Picked out of the dirt. In time, says the second base umpire, Tom Ryberg. A gorgeous throw by Phil Clark. And a stupendous tag by Gazzo to catch Rave trying to steal.
Phil Clark has a cannon, but that time the credit needs to go to Sal Gazzo. Sticking with that throw, it was low and in the dirt, picking the ball, and then applying the tag to get the speedy Rave. Chatham, a team that loves to swipe bags. They lead the league in stolen bases like we mentioned in the pregame show. And a heck of a job there for out number 2.
2-0 pitch from Smitty. Fastball on the outside corner, and that makes the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Phil Clark, like you mentioned, with a cannon. That's his 13th assist of the summer. Something hard to do behind the dish. 2-1 pitch, fastball line down the left field line. Tails on to Route 28. And Smitty evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. No score in the early going between Chatham and Orleans, with 2 down in the top of the first. Smitty working from the windup. Gets his sign from Clark. Here's the 2-2. Breaking ball that tails outside, and that'll run the count full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Not to the liking of the home plate umpire Warren Nicholson. At first base, Federico De Jesus. And at third, Tom Ryberg. Here's the 2-out payoff pitch from Smitty. Fastball upstairs, ball 4. Michael Bush works out a 2-out walk, and he's aboard to extend the inning for the A's.
Smitty missing often here in the early going, high and outside to left-handed hitters. And that's something he struggled with in his first appearance way back on the second game of the season where he walked 4 guys. So hopefully Smitty can get his command under control. That's been an issue for Orleans starters recently, and that has really been the downfall on multiple occasions for the Birds starting pitchers.
So another ACC matchup ensues as the left-hand hitting DH from Florida State digs in. First pitch from Smitty. Fastball that misses inside for ball 1. Drew Mendoza, the rising junior from Florida State, batting a .195 with 1 home run and 7 RBIs. Playing in his 18th game this summer for Tom Holliday and the Chatham A's. Bush leads off first. Smitty comes set at the belt. Here's the 1-0. Breaking ball, check swing by Mendoza. He did not go. Nice stop by Phil Clark to keep it in front of him. But Smitty falls behind 2 balls and no strikes.
You mentioned Phil Clark again, the guy they call Philly, getting beat up early on. Shea Smitty bouncing multiple pitches in the dirt, and the command just not quite there. Clark will walk out to his starting pitcher and just try to calm him down a bit. Luckily, Clark picked him up a bit, throwing out Rave on that stolen base attempt, but just trying to work around that 2-out walk and get back into the dugout.
No score between Chatham and Orleans with 2 down in the top of the first. Bush leads off first base. He's 1 for 1 in stolen base attempts this summer. Here's the 2-0 from Smitty. Fastball hit to the first base side. Diving stop by Logan Wyatt, who gets up and takes it to the bag himself. And that will end the inning. So Logan Wyatt flashes the leather and gets his Louisville Cardinal teammate out of the jam. Chatham A's score no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 run left on base. We'll to the home half of the first here at Eldridge Park. No score between Chatham and Orleans. You're listening to the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. No score between Chatham and Orleans as we head to the home half of the first here at Eldridge Park. Josh White alongside Braden Bell on the call for the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. Dan Hammer gets loose for the Chatham A's. He'll take on an Orleans lineup. It looks a little different today than usual for the Firebirds.
Yeah, much different. You have Logan Wyatt leading off. Like you said, Josh, you asked him before the game whether or not he has ever been a leadoff hitter. He said no. no level of baseball has he ever let off. So this will be a first for Logan Wyatt. It should be very fun and interesting to watch. But the Birds just trying to switch things up. It's not that the Bats have really struggled per se, but a team that's struggling winning ball games, and sometimes you'll see it. Example, the Cubs last year let off Kyle Schwarber for a while, also Anthony Rizzo. So Skip just trying to dabble with things and start with a guy that reaches base more than anyone else on this team. So we'll see how it plays out.
Wyatt digs in from the left side, the first baseman from the University of Louisville, who made a fantastic play in the top half to end the frame. Wyatt batting .280 this summer with 3 home runs and 13 RBIs. First pitch from Hammer. Fastball up and away for ball 1. You talk about that on-base percentage for Logan Wyatt, a team-high .477 for the first 25 games he's played. Wyatt coming off an 0-for-3 night, but reached base with 2 walks. The 1-0. Fastball hit on the ground to the left side. Glove at third baseman Arenas. Double clutch. Throw across the diamond in plenty of time. 1 up and 1 down. Here to start the bottom of the first.
And so you had Wyatt leading things off. Now you go to a 2-hole hitter in Carter Aldretti, who has had a hot bat. So we were discussing this off air. You have a consistent bat in Wyatt, then you have a hot bat in Aldretti, then you have a consistent hitter in Blade, then you have Osborne, who's been hot. So it's kind of consistency against who has the hot bat at the top of the lineup for Kelly Nicholson. I really like it.
Second baseman digs in from the right side. First pitch. Fastball that misses upstairs above the letters of Aldretti for ball 1. Carter Aldretti rides into the night with a .263 average, a league-tying high of 5 home runs and 15 RBIs. Right-handed Hammer gets his sign, wheels and deals. Here's the 1-0. Fastball on the outside corner, and that'll even up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. No score between Chatham and Orleans, with 1 down in the home half of the first. Aldretti coming off a 2-for-4 night with a double and an RBI. Second baseman from Arizona State back in from the right side. Here's the 1-1. Fastball lifted out to left field. The left fielder Simpson ranges over. He's at the track, leaps, and doesn't make the catch as this one kicks off the fence. Aldretti will dig into second base easily as he cruises into the second base bag with a 1-out stand-up double.
Become accustomed to Carter Aldretti taking the ball the other way. Second straight night, he's provided some power going to the left side of the ballpark, and that went off the glove of Simpson. It was a very tough play, and Aldretti ends up at second base. A ringing double.
So exactly what Kelly Nicholson envisioned by stacking the top of the lineup, and now it's to see if J.J. Boudet or Nick Osborne can bring Aldretti home from scoring position. So Hammer will work out of the stretch for the first time tonight, taking on the left-handed swinging J.J. Boudet. First pitch from Hammer. Fastball that misses outside for ball 1. Boudet batting .318 with 2 home runs and 8 RBIs through his first 20 games this summer for the Firebirds. 6'2", 205 right fielder, coming off a 3-for-6 night with a double and a run scored. Aldretti leads off second. Here's the 1-0. Fastball that runs outside, and Hammer falls behind 2 balls and no strikes. Boudet has been a much better hitter against righties this summer than lefties, hitting .362 with both of his home runs, all 8 RBIs, coming against right-handed pitching. The right-hander Hammer comes set at the belt. Here's the 2-0. Fastball on the inside corner at the knees of Boudet, and that'll make the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Boudet has been very strong this summer at bringing runners home, batting .353 with a long ball and 7 RBI with runners on base. No score here between Chatham and Orleans, with 1 down in the home half of the first. Aldretti leads off second base. He's a threat to run with 2 stolen bases already this summer. Boudet calls time, digs back in from the left side. Panama City Beach native waving the black and tan bat over the head. Here's the 2-1. Fastball lifted the other way out to left field. Simpson lines it up as he makes the catch a couple steps in front of the track. Aldretti will retreat back to second base, but a good swing by J.J. Boudet for the second out of the inning.
Great swing. It was squared up. Unfortunately for J.J., just right at the left fielder in Simpson, but now 2 straight times we've seen the Firebirds really put good swings against Dan Hammer, and even if it doesn't pay off here in the first inning, that has to be a good sign moving forward, establishing good ABs, feeling more comfortable in the box, so then when you come around the second time, you kind of know what to expect against a starting pitcher like Dan Hammer.
So now the guy who's arguably in the story of the summer so far digs in from the right side. Nick Osborne, 2-way player from Tennessee Tech. 2 down here in the bottom of the first. First pitch from Hammer. Breaking ball that misses outside for ball 1. Osborne batting a scorching .370 with 5 home runs and 12 RBIs through his first 12 games played for the Firebirds. Those 5 home runs tie him atop the CCBL in long balls. Aldretti leads off second, trying to get the Birds on the board. 1-0 pitch. Fastball on the inside corner, and that evens up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
That home run again for Osborne last night over the right center field wall. We've seen him be very comfortable with hitting home runs to the opposite field as well, just like Carter Aldretti.
The one team Osborne has struggled against are the Chatham Anglers, just 1 for his first 12 with 3 strikeouts. Here's the 1-1. Fastball waved out and missed, and Hammer jumps ahead 1-2. Sorry about that, Braden. Let's give you the defensive alignment for the Chatham A's. The outfield from left to right, Colin Simpson, John Rave, and Blake Sable. The infield, Jorge Arenas, Greg Jones, Michael Bush, Kyle McCann. And the battery mate to Dan Hammer in Jake Taylor. So Dan Hammer 1 strike away from getting out of the 1-out double from Carter Aldretti. Right-hander comes set at the belt. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Fastball pops up in the infield to the right side. The first baseman, Kyle McCann, treats in on the infield grass, togging the line and makes the over-the-shoulder catch for the final out of the inning. So Dan Hammer able to work around a 1-out extra base hit for the Firebirds as the Birds scored no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 run left on base. What to the top of the second here at Eldridge Park. No score between Chatham and Orleans. Listening to the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. No score between Chatham and Orleans as we head to the top of the second inning here at Eldridge Park. It'll be 5, 6, and 7 for the Anglers. Colin Simpson, Kyle McCann, and Blake Sable set to face Shea Smitty, who's out for his second inning of work and his first start of the summer for the Firebirds.
Yeah, and even though Smitty worked around that single to lead off the ball game, he didn't really look locked in. Was struggling with his command a bit. We'll see if he can settle down a bit more in inning number 2 of his night.
Left fielder from Oklahoma State, Colin Simpson digs in. First pitch from the right-handed Smitty. Fastball on the inside corner at the knees of Simpson for strike 1. Simpson just hitting a .156 with no home runs and 6 runs batted in through his first 25 games for the A's. The 0-1. Breaking ball on the outside corner, and Smitty jumps ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Simpson just stands at 5'9", 215 pounds, a huge disadvantage for him with Smitty at 6'5". The 0-2. Fastball corked to the right side, gloved by the second baseman Aldretti. He'll take his time and throw to Wyatt in plenty of time for the first out of the inning.
So obviously we talked about how we're broadcasting on the Hill tonight, Josh, and it's cool that the tradition of Eldridge Park is being shown off, but I've already noticed one thing from this angle, and that is you can really tell how late hitters are on the fastball from Dan Hammer, and then on that breaking ball, how he completely fooled Colin Simpson. We saw that in Osborne's AB. He was way behind a fastball, and that time Simpson was way out in front of a breaking ball, led to an easy ground ball. So an interesting aspect, an angle here on the first base line.
First pitch from Smitty to McCann, a fastball that misses outside for ball 1. You talk about the unique night we have going here at Eldridge Park, the 1-0 pitch. Fastball that misses low and inside, just above the shoe tops of McCann. That'll make the count 2 balls and no strikes. Obviously, Chatham and Orleans, the 2 biggest rivals in the Cape Cod League. Talk about Lakers, Celtics, the 2-0 pitch from Smitty, a breaking ball corked down the first base line. That'll make the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Lakers, Celtics in the NBA, Cowboys, Packers, if you will, in the NFL. Michigan, Ohio State. This is kind of that level of rivalry.
We'll take it down a notch, perhaps. It's a rivalry. I'm not going to compare it to Michigan, Ohio State, but it certainly is a rivalry. And as far as this league goes, I will go ahead and say it's the best one we have.
Fair point. 1 down here in the top of the second, 3-1 pitch. Fastball misses low and inside, ball 4. So a 5-pitch walk for Kyle McCann, and he's aboard with 1 down in the top of the second. No score between Chatham and Orleans in the fourth meeting of the summer between the Anglers and the Firebirds. Now the left-handed swinging right fielder from the University of Southern California will dig in for his first AB of the night. Sable batting .298 this summer with 4 home runs and 13 RBIs, making his 23rd appearance for the Chatham A's. Smitty working the stretch, first pitch. Breaking ball in the dirt, nice stop by the catcher, Clark. McCann trots down to second, that throw from Clark on the wrong side of the bag, but in time as Gazzo applies the tag. A couple runners trying to go on Phil Clark tonight, but the Vanderbilt catcher showing off his arm strength.
I love being aggressive on the base paths, but that was a poor decision for McCann to run. If you're going to run and read dirt ball, he should have taken off much earlier. He read a very poor ball that time, took off late. It was a poor jump, and with the arm of Clark, he can gun you out, and that's exactly what happened there for the second out of the inning.
So there's 2 away here in the top of the second. A 1-0 count to or Blake Sable, I should say. Sable bunts on the next pitch and pops it into the screen. 1 ball and 1 strike. No score between Chatham and Orleans here with 2 away. Sable, the 6'4", 205-pound outfielder, originally from Aliso Viejo, California. USC Trojan back in from the left side. Here's the 1-1 from Smitty. Fastball corked out to deep right field. The right fielder Baudet ranges back. He's at the track wall, and this one is gone. A solo home run off the bat of Blake Sable, his 5th of the summer, and the Chatham Anglers strike first. It's 1-0 in favor of the A's.
A no-doubt shot there from Blake Sable. You can tell off the bat that thing was going to the right center field wall, hit off the flagpole over the fence here at Eldridge Park, and a great swing put on by Sable. And the Anglers jump at first.
So after Chatham just scored 3 runs through their first 3 meetings with the Firebirds, after being held scoreless the first 2 times around, they strike with a solo blast here in the top of the second. So there's 2 away here in the top of the second. Jorge Arenas takes in from the right side. First pitch, breaking ball that misses outside for ball 1. Third baseman from Stetson, batting just $173 so far this summer with 2 runs driven in. Here's the 1-0. Fastball upstairs above the letters of Arenas, and that'll make the count 2 balls and no strikes. Gotta wonder how this might affect Shea Smitty, making his first start of the summer, not necessarily pitching on complete rest, just pitching 5 days ago. Here's the 2-0. Fastball that paints the outside corner, and that'll make the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Arenas coming off an 0-for-3 night versus the Bourne Braves last night in Chatham. Here's the 2-1. Fastball that paints the outside corner, and Smitty evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Chatham completed the series sweep over Bourne last night, 4-0.
Here's the 2-2. Breaking ball hit to the left side, gloved by the third baseman Levy. He'll throw across the diamond in time for the final out of the inning. But not before the Chatham A's strike first on the solo blast by Blake Sable, his 5th home run of the season. Chatham scores 1 run on no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. Went to the home half of the second. Chatham 1 and Orleans nothing. Listening to the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. Chatham leads the Firebirds 1-0 as we head to the home half of the second here at Eldridge Park. It'll be 5, 6, and 7 for Orleans. Pat DeMarco, Phil Clark, and Justin Levy trying to scratch across a run off the right-hander from Pittsburgh in Dan Hammer. It's a quiet first inning for Orleans, just a 1-out double by Carter Aldretti, but he was stranded in scoring position. So the center fielder from Vanderbilt, Pat DeMarco, will dig in from the right side. DeMarco starting in his 24th game this summer for Kelly Nicholson. 5'9" center fielder, batting .269 with 2 home runs and 10 RBI. First pitch. Fastball on the outside corner, called strike 1. DeMarco coming off a 1-for-6 game with a run scored in the Birds' 11-8 loss at YD last night. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Fastball fisted down the right field line and foul, and Hammer jumps ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. DeMarco moving down to the 5-hole tonight after hitting leadoff for the early parts of the summer so far for the Birds. Hammer ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Right-hander wheels and deals. Here's the 0-2. Breaking ball lifted down the right field line. The right fielder Sable ranges over towards the foul line. He'll make the catch in the corner, just in fair territory for the first out of the inning.
Nice catch by Blake Sable on a full sprint right by the foul line, kind of reaching that arm out full extension to make the catch. And who knows whether it would have been fair or foul, but still a fine play to track that one down for the Chatham right fielder.
So the hot bat of Phil Clark digs in from the left side. The Anglers on top of the Firebirds, 1-0 with a 1 away in the home half of the second. Clark batting .268 this summer with 1 home run and 5 RBIs through his first 15 games. Righty on lefty matchup. Here's the pitch. Fastball fouled back down the third base line onto Route 28 for strike 1. Clark's reached base in 9 straight games now, starting to get that bat going, hitting .368 over the last 5 games. Hammer gets the sign. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Fastball rolled slowly to the right side, gloved by the second baseman Bush. He'll toss to McCann in time. 2 up and 2 down here to start the bottom of the second.
Nice job by Hammer, pounding the fastball low in the strike zone, inducing soft contact to a hitter in Phil Clark, who has looked pretty comfortable as of late for Orleans. And 2 quick outs for Hammer, who, besides that double from Aldretti's, looked very strong in the early going.
So now Justin Levy will dig in for the first time tonight. Third baseman from the University of Louisville. First pitch from Hammer. Breaking ball on the outside corner, called strike 1. Chatham leads Orleans 1-0 here with 2 away in the bottom of the second. It's now 4 in a row retired by Dan Hammer after the 1-out double off the bat of Carter Aldretti. Here's the 0-1. Fastball fouled back behind home plate onto the hill here at Aldridge Park, and Hammer jumps ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Levy batting an even .250 this summer with 9 RBIs through his first 20 games. Right-handed swinging third baseman digs back in. Hammer ahead 0-2. Pittsburgh Panther wheels and deals. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball fisted down the right field line, tailing out of play. McCann, the first baseman, gives chase, but this runs into a pile of fans, and we'll do it again at 0-2.
So foul ball on the hill. We both brought our gloves tonight. You went with the catcher's glove, which is a bold play to catch a foul ball with. I would respect it so much if it actually happens. I'm cheating with a first base glove, so a bigger glove, but hopefully it happens.
We got the padding there for the high launch angle. 0-2 pitch. Fastball that runs inside, and that'll make the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. I think the bigger storyline, too, the catcher's glove, it's left-handed.
Yes, I was just about to get to that. It's a rarity that you see that, and you rock it, man. You really do.
I try and pull it off the best way I can. The 1-2 pitch from Hammer. Fastball above the head of Levy, and that evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Justin Levy trying to learn a little bit more behind the dish. Maybe we'll see him later this summer. Levy trying to increase the versatility. Has played on both the left and right side of the infield. Also listed as a catcher on the depth chart. Here's the 2-2. Fastball rolled back up the middle. Slow roller to Jones, who will field it, throwing the run. Picked out of the dirt by McCann in time. And the side is retired. So the Birds go down in order here in the home half of the second as Dan Hammer has settled in for the Chatham A's. We're through 2 full innings of baseball here at Aldridge Park. Chatham 1 and Orleans 0. Listening to the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. Chatham 1 and Orleans nothing as we head to the top of the third here at Eldridge Park. It'll be 9-1-2 for the Anglers. Jake Taylor, John Rave, and Greg Jones set to face Shea Smitty, who's back out for his third inning of work, making his first start of the summer for the Firebirds. Jake Taylor, the right-handed hitting catcher from Oklahoma State, digs in. Righty-on-righty matchup as Smitty sets to begin. First pitch from Smitty. Fastball at the belt of Taylor, called a strike on the outside corner. Taylor just batting a $194 so far this summer. Rather, that's 0.94. 0-1 pitch. Fastball that hits Taylor on the left elbow, and he'll trot down to first base. And Smitty's issues with the strike zone continue. And Taylor has reached as a leadoff base runner.
That's the only complaint you could really have about Shea Smitty so far this summer is his lack of command on occasion. When he's dialed in, is as good as anyone relief-wise in this league that I've seen, but the command has been struggling so far tonight, and it's really hurt his start so far.
So John Rave will dig in for the second time tonight. Righty on lefty matchup. First pitch. Fastball corked to the right side, and that gets into right field. Digging for third base is Taylor. He'll go first to third on the slow roller into the outfield. The Chatham A's have runners on the corners with nobody out here in the top of the third inning.
And right away, that's just bad luck if your Orleans wasn't hit all that hard, but because Logan Wyatt's holding on Taylor at first base, it finds that larger than usual hole through the right side of the infield and allows Taylor to advance all the way to third, so a big rally here for Chatham to open up the third inning.
So with Chatham leading for the first time in this season series, 1-0, they'll try and add to that tally here with runners on the corners and nobody out. Switch hitting shortstop from UNC Wilmington digs in from the left side. Jones 0 for 1, struck out his first time around. Smitty comes set at the belt. Here's the first pitch. Fastball on the outside corner, called strike one. 6'1", $180 shortstop. Entered the night batting .264 with 3 home runs and 6 RBIs. Smitty trying to induce a ground ball double play and pick up 2 quick outs. The 0-1. Fastball that runs low and inside, and that evens up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. We've seen Shea struggle with his command at times this summer. The whip entering the night at 163 with 8 walks in just 11 2/3 innings. The right-hander from Louisville comes set. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Fastball that misses well outside the zone, and Smitty falls behind 2 balls and 1 strike. John Rave leads off first. Jake Taylor just 90 feet away at third base, with the Chatham A's already leading this ball game 1-0 here in the top of the third inning. Smitty comes set from the first base side. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Fastball that catches the inside corner after Jones turned away, and that evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And if you're Greg Jones and Chatham right here, this is an opportunity you need to cash in on. Try to put up a crooked number in this inning. Even though they're already up 1-0, they've struggled so much against this Orleans team. They need to capitalize here.
Smitty comes set. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Fastball lifted out to left field. The left fielder Frazier ranges back, couple steps in front of the track. He makes the catch. Tagging from third base is Jake Taylor, the third of the plate offline. So a sacrifice fly RBI for Greg Jones, and the Chatham A's add to their tally. It's 2-0 here in the top of the third.
That's all you got to do. A great swing there by Greg Jones, known more for his speed than his power, but put a pretty good shot into that one out to left field. No way Frazier was going to be able to throw out the pretty speedy Jake Taylor. The second run of the night for Chatham.
So Michael Bush, the number 3 hitter for Chatham, digs in from the left side. Second baseman from North Carolina, walked in his first plate appearance of the night. A couple of ACC guys going at it right here. First pitch from Smitty. Fastball on a pitch out outside for ball 1. John Rave on first base has 4 stolen bases so far this summer for the Chatham A's across 27 games. 6'1", 210-pound infielder digs back in from the left side. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fastball lifted out to center field. The center fielder DeMarco ranges to his right, and he makes the play, shifted perfectly for the second out of the inning.
You mentioned it. Great positioning there for Pat DeMarco. If he was shifted over to the right a little more against the left-handed batting Bush, that could have been a double in the gap. Instead, he was more straight up in center field, a usual position without a shift, and was able with his speed to make that play look very easy.
So the struggling Drew Mendoza will now step up to the dish for the Chatham A's. The Anglers on top of the Firebirds, 2-0, here with 2 away in the top of the third. Righty on lefty matchup as Smitty comes set. Here's the first pitch. Fastball pops up on the left side of the infield in foul territory. The third baseman Levy giving chase near the third base coach's box, and he makes the play for the final out of the inning. But not before the Chatham A's score 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 run left on base. We're to the home half of the third here at Eldridge Park. 2-0 to score in favor of Chatham. You'll listen to the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. Chatham on top of Orleans, 2-0 as we head to the home half of the third here at Eldridge Park. It'll be 8-9-1 for the Firebirds. Matt Frazier, Sal Gazzo, and Logan Wyatt set to face Dan Hammer, who's retired the last 5 Firebirds so far tonight. Matt Frazier, the left fielder from the University of Arizona, digs in from the left side. Frazier struggling so far this summer, just a .161 average through his first 19 games. The right-handed Hammer comes set on the hill. Wheels and deals. Here's the first pitch. Fastball that misses upstairs and away above the letters of Frazier for ball 1. Frazier coming off a 2-for-4 night with an RBI and a walk against the Armith Dennis Red Sox. Hammer kicks and fires. Here's the 1-0. Fastball fisted the other way, gloved by the shortstop Jones. He'll bobble the baseball, throw it in the dirt, off the glove of the first baseman McCann. This rolls down the right field line. Frazier will dig for second base. He'll slide in feet first easily. It's an infield single followed by an error by Greg Jones. And the Birds have a leadoff base runner here to begin the bottom of the third.
Matt Frazier, I was just about to say, probably had his best game offensively all year long last night in terms of squaring up the baseball. Didn't square that one up at all, but a bit of a bobble by the shortstop Jones, and then, like you said, the throw gets away, and just like that, the Birds with a runner in scoring position to lead off this third inning.
So a golden opportunity here for the Firebirds to get on the scoreboard for the first time tonight, with Sal Gazzo, the shortstop, hitting from the left side. Hammer will have to work out of the stretch for the first time since back in the first inning. Right-hander comes set. Here's the first pitch. Breaking ball that runs outside for ball 1. In fact, that ball will just be scored as a 2-base error on Greg Jones. So Matt Frazier not awarded the hit as Jones gets charged for the defensive miscue. Switch hitting shortstop from Wallingford, Connecticut, out of Tulane University, back in from the left side. Here's the 1-0. Fastball tipped off the mask of Taylor, and that evens up the count at 1-1
And Sal Gazzo, a guy who really has struggled at the plate. That average is just .216, but every once in a while he'll come through for this team and provide a big base hit, and this would really be big time. Chatham scoring in 2 straight innings. The Birds would love to get 1 or 2 home here in the bottom of the third just for mentality's sake heading to the middle innings.
Chatham Anglers leading the Firebirds for the first time in the season series, 2-0 in favor of the A's with nobody down in the home half of the third. Frazier with good speed leads off second. He's got 3 stolen bases this summer. The 1-1. Fastball hit on the ground to the right side, backhanded by the second baseman Bush. He'll throw to McCann in time for the first out of the inning as Frazier takes third on the ground ball to the right side.
Just as good as a bunt if you're Sal Gazzo. A productive out. He'll get some daps from his teammates when he gets back to the Orleans dugout. Ground ball to the right side is all you needed. Now you trust that the top of the lineup in Logan Wyatt can get the job done here with 1 out and a runner at third.
So Logan Wyatt hitting leadoff for the first time in his life, he said. I spoke to him before the game. I said, Logan, obviously you're a bigger kid. You're 6'4". You've been tall your entire life. Power hitting first baseman. When was the last time you hit leadoff? Response, never. First pitch from Hammer. Fastball outside, ball 1. The reason why Kelly Nicholson moving up Logan Wyatt to that leadoff spot, because that team high on base percentage at .477 entering the night. Wyatt 0 for 1 so far, grounding out to the third baseman Arenas back in the first. Runner just 90 feet away for the Firebirds. Right-hander comes set. Here's the 1-0. Fastball lifted down the left field line and foul. as that runs onto the left field hill here at Eldridge Park, and that evens up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. So Wyatt grips the black and red bat and digs back in from the left side. Louisville, Kentucky native playing for the hometown school. Wyatt trying to get the Birds on the board, with Chatham leading Orleans 2-0. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball that misses low and inside, just above the shoe tops of Logan Wyatt, and that'll make the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Wyatt has been extremely effective so far this summer with runners on scoring position, batting a scorching .353 with 12 of his 13 RBIs coming in those situations. Frazier is 90 feet away at third base. Here's the 2-1. Fastball fouled back behind the plate onto Route 28. And that evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Logan Wyatt just barely missed that pitch. Very smooth, fluid stroke through the baseball that time. Just fouled it off above the net. But if he can put another swing like that on another fastball from Hammer, the Birds could be scoring their first run right here.
Third-team All-American unstraps the batting gloves, reaches for some more pine tar on the middle of the barrel. 2-2 the count to the Birds' leadoff hitter, Logan Wyatt. Here's the pitch from Hammer. Fastball lifted out to the shallow part of the outfield. The shortstop Jones camps out on the outfield grass. He'll make the catch. Frazier takes a couple of steps down the third base line, but he will hold up there. So not the result Logan Wyatt was looking for as he popped up to Greg Jones for the second out of the inning.
Just frustration if you're Logan Wyatt and Orleans. You would trust that Wyatt, normally a guy that will at least be able to ground the ball to the right side or pop one up deep enough for a speedy guy like Frazier to score. Just wasn't the case that time. Shallow enough for the shortstop to make the catch, and now it's all left up to Carter Aldrete.
So Carter Aldrete will dig in for the second time tonight. The Birds' second baseman with the lone Firebird hit tonight so far. Doubled back in the first before he was stranded in scoring position. Righty on righty matchup, first pitch. Fastball on the outside corner at the knees of Aldrete for strike 1. Aldrete swinging a hot bat of late, batting .348 with 4 long balls and 8 RBIs over the last 5 games. He has struggled with runners in scoring position, however, this summer, just batting .222. Trying to rewrite the script and give the Birds their first run, the 0-1. Breaking ball that misses low and outside, and that evens up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Aldrete and Frazier were able to tune up a rally yesterday against YD. We'll see if the Arizona State Sun Devil and Arizona Wildcat can partake in the first run of the night for Orleans.
The Pac-12 rivals trying to help out the Birds in their rivalry matchup here at Eldridge Park. Here's the 1-1 from Hammer. Fastball on the outside corner, and that makes the count 1 ball and 2 strikes.
There's a great pitch there for Hammer on the outside corner, giving Aldrete really no option with a 1-1 count. You don't want to chase that pitch, and now you're in a situation, if you're Carter Aldrete, you got to choke up and just try to put a good swing on something.
2-0 the score in favor of Chatham here with 2 away in the bottom of the third. Matt Frazier stands 90 feet away for the Firebirds. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Hammer. Breaking ball that misses low and outside, and that evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Aldrete, not a guy known for his power, just hit 3 home runs in 53 games this past season for the Sun Devils. Already tied for the league lead with 5 with the wood bat here on Cape Cod. Trying to just pick up a single here to bring home Frazier from third base. Hammer comes set at the belt. Here's the 2-2. Fastball on the outside corner, bring him up, strike 3. Aldrete goes down looking. That's the first strikeout of the night for Dan Hammer, and the side is retired. The Birds score no runs on no hits, 1 error, and 1 run left on base. We're through 3 complete innings here at Eldridge Park. Chatham 2 and Orleans nothing. I'll hand the play-by-play duties to Braden Bell. You're listening to the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network.
Welcome back to Eldridge Park here in Orleans, Massachusetts. Time for the fourth inning of baseball here on the inaugural Friday from the Hill. OFBN set up here behind the Orleans dugout on the Hill, the first base side. 2-0 Chatham on top of Orleans. Braden Bell, Josh White on the call. It'll be Colin Simpson leading things off for the Anglers as they'll be looking to score a run for the third straight frame against Shea Smitty, the Louisville Cardinal right-hander, who's getting kind of a surprise start, if you will, for the Firebirds in their starting rotation. A rotation in need of a start with depth. Most likely won't come from Smitty, who pitched 5 days ago, but the bullpen has been taxed of late, so don't be surprised if Smitty is kept in the ballgame for a while for Orleans. It'll be Simpson, the left-handed batter from Oklahoma State, who will swing away at the first pitch and crush a ball out to right field. Back is Blade, off the wall, right in front of the 359 side. Simpson rounds second base, but will hold up there. It's a leadoff ringing double off the wall, and Chatham in business yet again here in the fourth.
Yeah, Smitty has really struggled with his control tonight. He's been very wild, throwing a lot of balls out of the zone. And when he has thrown strikes, they've been up in the zone, allowing hitters to really tee off. We saw Sable hit his 5th home run of the night, and now Simpson doubles to lead things off.
So now it'll be Kyle McCann, the Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, who reached his first AB with a walk. The young man from Lambert High School in Suwanee, Georgia. 6'2", 217, the left-handed batter again. You mentioned in the open how Chatham and Tom Holliday stacked this lineup with left-handed batters against the right-handed Smitty. The first pitch to him, swung on, ground ball to the right side. White will field it with ease, touch the bag, but it is a productive out as Simpson will trot 90 feet up to third base. And the Anglers now with a great opportunity. Runner at third, only 1 out.
As good of a bunt, if you will, for Kyle McCann. Hit the ball to the right side, allowed Simpson to move 90 feet. We already saw Chatham score with the sac fly. They'll try and do so again here with the runner 90 feet away.
So 2 pitches into this inning. The Anglers already with a runner at third base and 1 out. Now it'll be Blake Sable, who really made a name for himself at his first AB. A big-time home run to right center field. And the USC Trojan will try to pick up his second RBI on the night. The infield in for Orleans as they're trying to keep this deficit at just 2. 1 away in the fourth inning. The first pitch to Sable is swung out and missed. A fastball on the inside part of the plate from Shea Smitty. Sable, a all Pac-12 honorable mention this past season for USC. He's an all-purpose guy. He can play outfield. He can catch. He can be a DH. He's playing right field tonight. He swings and fouls it off. It's quickly 0-2.
We spoke about the power surge for Carter Aldretti, having 5 homers on this summer after just 3 in 53 games. Blake Sable, kind of similar, has 5 home runs on the summer, had 4 in 54 games for the USC Trojans.
So one of those things, baseball can be so unpredictable, playing with a wood bat against great pitchers, but Aldretti and Sable both breaking out. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. It's bounced in the dirt. A good stop by Clark to preserve a run on a breaking ball that went about 58 feet. It's now 1 ball and 2 strikes. And you mentioned kind of the power surprises. Also, Nick Osborne, obviously one of them for Orleans, as he's been phenomenal with the bat in terms of power. And so those 3 guys, really a testament to show that it isn't just a pitcher's league. And we've talked about this off air. Even more so, it seems, this year, the offenses have been rising to the occasion in this league more than in years past, as per what we were told. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Smitty looking for a big strikeout here against Sable. He kicks and fires. Another breaking ball low and in the dirt. And the count now 2-2 to the USC Trojan.
And the infield is in right here for the Firebirds, trying to cut the run out at home. Very interesting to see Orleans being that aggressive with their defense in just the 4th inning.
We'll see what Smitty goes to here with the infield in. The 2-2 delivery. Smitty kicks and fires. Breaking ball pounded out to left field. Frazier will drift over to his right, make the catch, and throw the ball into home. Tagging from third and scoring on a ball that was dropped by Phil Clark after a nice throw from Frazier. It'll be a sac fly for Blake Sable. It's 3-0 Chatham.
Yeah, tough break for Phil Clark. A great throw by Matt Frazier on a bounce to the plate. Was a little up the first base line, but could have been backhanded easily by Clark and applied the tag. Just an unfortunate break for the Birds here in the top of the 4th.
And you mentioned how it was a bit up the line. Still would have been a tough play to come back and make the tag if you're Phil Clark, but the ball bounced off his glove, and it's a run for Chatham as ball 1 delivered high to Jorge Arenas. Grounded out to third base at his first AB, a college teammate from Stetson as he looks at ball 2. It's 2-0. Arenas, a guy known for his short stroke with the bat. He's not really a power guy. No home runs yet on the year, and he's been struggling all around. Just a 173 average entering tonight's ball game. From Miami Shores, Florida, The 2-0 pitch boomed out to left center field. Back is Frazier, and he will make the snow cone grab at the warning track to save extra bases. Matt Frazier gets a tip of the cap from Shea Smitty, and the inning is over after a phenomenal athletic grab from the Orleans left fielder Matt Frazier.
Fantastic catch by Frazier, read the ball beautifully off the bat. One of the fastest guys on this squad, kept racing and racing and racing, and able to track it down like you mentioned with the snow cone. Obviously a commodity here on Cape Cod.
So the Anglers able to get one run, but all the other damage is thorned out after that phenomenal catch from Matt Frazier. It's 3-0 Chatham as we'll head to the home half of the fourth inning here on the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. Time for the home half of the fourth inning here from Eldridge Park. It's 3-0 Chatham over their arch rival Orleans. Braden Bell, Josh White on the call here on a picture-perfect Friday night for baseball at Eldridge Park. A bit of a chilly evening, if you will, but still nothing to complain about. Always a great night at the ballpark here in Orleans. It'll be J.J. Blade leading things off for Orleans here in the home half of the fourth. Batting in the 3-hole tonight for Orleans, and he'll be looking to get something going for the Birds. They stranded Matt Frazier at third base last inning. And the Birds looking to get something going, trailing 3-0. The first pitch from Dan Hammer, a breaking ball just a bit high for ball number one to the Vanderbilt Commodore, J.J. Blade, who has struggled a bit as of late for Orleans. Started out red hot, hit .419 in June. That averaged just .214 in the month of July. The 1-0 pitch runs inside, and a good hitter's count immediately for Blade. It's 2 balls and no strikes.
And really the saving grace so far for Blade is hitting against right-handers. He's been much better. And you see that a lot of the times in the game of baseball is lefties on lefties. They struggle a little bit. This could be a good time for Blade to try and change it around here on the Cape.
The 2-0 from Hammer. Blade swings away. It's popped up in the infield. Drifting back just out of the dirt is the third baseman Arenas, who makes the catch in fair territory for out number one.
Yeah, tough break for J.J. Blade. It just seems that he's trying to do a little too much at the moment. Trying to get the Birds out of this losing streak. Maybe swing for the fences a little bit too much. But they really a guy with a sweet stroke, gap-to-gap hitter, maybe trying to hit one out of the park.
So it's been a struggle so far for Orleans against Dan Hammer. Just one hit, through the first 3 1/3 innings against the Pittsburgh right-handed pitcher. Nick Osborne now the batter for Orleans. He can certainly break an offense open. We've seen that a few times this summer. He swings away and fouls a pitch off just to the left of the Chatham dugout. It's 0-1. Osborne with another home run last night against YD. It was a missile over the right center field wall. One of 2 RBIs. The 0-1 pitch is high. It's 1 ball and 1 strike now to one of the most interesting stories, not only on this team, but realistically in this league. A guy he was told was coming to this league to be a pitcher only, and has now, in 12 games, hit 5 home runs. He swings at another powerful hack from Osborne. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. But talk about coming out of nowhere. That really is the Nick Osborne story this summer for Orleans, and it really has been a huge bolster to this lineup.
And obviously a very talented hitter. There's a kid that hit .312 with 12 home runs in 55 games for Tennessee Tech, but a bit of a surprise he wasn't necessarily allowed to do both this summer.
Hammer kicks and fires. That pitch runs high, and Osborne stays alive. It's now 2 balls and 2 strikes to the right-handed slugger from Tennessee Tech, and a lot of fun to talk to as well, a guy that plays, like I said, at Tennessee Tech, a team that doesn't get that much media interactions. He looks at ball 3 inside. The cat now worked full. And so he always appreciates chatting with us, and obviously that's something very cool to share with you guys at home as well. Eliav Gabay will be speaking with Kelly Nicholson in between innings, so make sure to stay tuned for that as the full count delivery to Nick Osborne is fouled off back to the net. And number 42 for Orleans stays alive in the count.
Yeah, you talk about how much he loves talking to us. Obviously, great guy, as a lot of the guys on the team are. It's kind of funny whenever you go up to him, gives you a fist pound. The first thing he asks, you ready? You want to do an interview right now? And it's kind of funny. It could be literally the first second we get at the ballpark. Nick, no, we'll take your time. Hit another home run tonight. We'll talk to you.
In an era where the media is kind of looked at in different lights, it's refreshing to see, certainly for us, as another foul ball back to the net. And Osborne putting forth a very good AB here. So he's just trying to get something going for Orleans in a 3-0 game. Chatham on top of the Firebirds. So Orleans took the first 3 games against Chatham in this 6-game season series between the two historic rivals. Here comes the full count delivery again from Hammer. It runs inside and in fact clipped Osborne. Would have been ball 4 anyways. But Nick Osborne will trot down to first base. And the Birds have a base runner here with 1 away.
Yeah, and this is kind of the form that Kelly Nicholson envisioned with this lineup, stacking it, if you will, towards the top with some of those guys that get on base at high clips and some guys that will drive in some runs. Here's a good chance for the Birds to try and get on the board.
So it's Pat DeMarco, the bird watch of the day. He is 0 for 1 so far after a fine grab from Blake Sable near the foul line at his first AB. Pat, a guy who really has been moved down to the lineup tonight. He's normally the leadoff batter, but with this reformatted lineup, as he swings away and fouls it off down the third base line, he's been moved down to the 5 hole, as he will look to try to provide a punch now in the middle part of the lineup. Obviously, your approach could change a bit if you're DeMarco, as opposed to leading off the game for Orleans. So far, a .269 average entering the game, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs. He was just 1 for 6 last night against YD, as he hits a chopper to the third baseman Arenas. Over to Bush, and over to first base, not in time. They do get the lead runner for out number 2, but the speed of DeMarco just too quick to turn 2 there.
DeMarco, obviously a very tough guy to double up, has great speed out of the box, like you mentioned, able to leg that one out to extend this inning for the Birds. Now they're going to see if Phil Clark, who's swinging a hot bat, can try and extend the inning here for Orleans.
So one Vanderbilt Commodore to another. It's now Phil Clark, the catcher, who's already had a very fine day for Orleans behind the dish. He's got 2 anglers trying to steal bags, so he's been strong all year for Orleans behind the dish and trying to get it going with his bat. Looked strong last night, went 2 for 4, scored 3 runs in that game, and 11-8 loss for the Orleans Firebirds. Hammer trying to work through the 4th inning, still with a scoreless tally next to his name. It's 3-0 Chatham as ball 1 delivered low to the left-handed batting catcher for Kelly Nicholson. Orleans trying to break this skid. They'd pulled to within 2 points of Harwich. Now after 3 straight losses, it's a big hole to climb again. The 1-0 pitch swung over the top of on a fastball at the inside part of the plate. It's now 1 ball and 1 strike. Hammer, who has looked very strong so far in his Cape season with Chatham, continuing on with that same tune so far. As the Birds have been unable to crack the puzzle, as the right-hander from Pittsburgh throws over to check on DeMarco. He dives back in headlong and is in safely. So it's 2 away. DeMarco standing at first, his college teammate from Vanderbilt at the dish, trying to provide a bit of pop. Another throw over. Back in safely again is Pat DeMarco. So the guy they call Clarky, or if you're here at Orleans, you hear the coaching staff call him Philly very often, the Franklin, Tennessee native. No matter what you call him, the Birds hoping he can pull through with a hit here. Comes the 1-1 delivery to Phil Clark. He swings and fouls it off down the first base line, a souvenir for a fan here on the hill. It's now 1-2. So Chatham scoring in 3 straight innings. They've also picked up a hit every inning so far against Shea Smitty, who looks like he'll be coming back out for the 5th frame for Kelly Nicholson. Orleans so far with just 1 base hit. Stranded a runner at 3rd last frame. Trying to get something going here with 2 outs. Here comes the 1-2 pitch to Phil Clark. It runs high above the head on a fastball that was not tuned up by Hammer. The release point an issue there. It's now 2 balls and 2 strikes. The crowd just about as good as you'd expect on a Friday night between Chatham and Orleans in the middle of July. The hill filled very well here at Eldridge Park. Here comes the 2-2. DeMarco's off and running. The throw from Taylor is not in time. It's a swiped bag for Pat DeMarco. And now Phil Clark with a bird in the nest, a runner in scoring position and 2 away. So DeMarco with a great jump. The throw by Taylor was a solid one, but the tag just not in time. And now everything changes as Phil Clark, with a base hit to the outfield, can perhaps tune up an RBI for Orleans. Hammer comes set, looks back to Marco, who has a very conservative lead, and Clark swings over the top of a fastball for strike number 3. The inning is over. Dan Hammer works away out of that jab, and the Birds still unable to crack a run across. It'll be Eliab Gabai chatting with Kelly Nicholson momentarily. But it's all Chatham so far. It's 3-0 here at Eldridge Park in the inaugural edition of Friday from the Hill. Broadcasting from Eldridge Park, we will step away and wait for Kelly Nicholson, the skipper of the Firebirds, to step in and chat with Eliab Gabai here at the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. Eliab, take it away.
Thanks, guys. Skip, we're broadcasting from the Hill today as part of Fridays from the Hill. So how much a part of the culture is the Hill here in Orleans?
Oh, I think it's a big part of it. You know, people come out early and set their blankets up and their chairs up, and everybody knows not to move them. And it's cool. You get here at 9 or 10 or whatever time you get here in the morning, and it's pretty full. So it's tradition. It's cool to see.
And now the lineup looks a lot different today. So what went into putting it together?
Well, we just wanted to get Logan Wyatt at the top of our order. He's our leading OBP guy, and try to get him up as many times as we can tonight. And he came up in a good situation, guy on third with 1 out. And, I told him after his first at-bat, I said if our leadoff guy would have gotten on, Aldretti would have had an RBI, just joking with him. So we'll see how it goes. We just try to shake things up a little bit and think the guys kind of enjoyed the new lineup tonight. So we'll see what shakes out and see how long we stay with it.
Well, shaking things up never hurt. Back to you guys. Thanks, Skip.
Great stuff, as always, from our very own Eliab Gabai. And thanks again to Kelly Nicholson for taking the time in the middle of a ball game to chat with him. One of the coolest features we have here on OFBN. And a Friday conversation with Skip. That'll lead us into the top of the 5th inning on Friday the 13th. And wouldn't you know it, number 13 out there on the mound for Orleans. That, of course, Shea Smitty, set to begin his 5th inning of work. And so, Josh, I know you'll roll your eyes here, but I prepared some fun facts about Friday the 13th, the history, and perhaps a bit of the origin and some of the interesting facets of this day that has become so famous and really lored in our culture. It happens very often in the calendar year, and in fact, the longest it could not happen is 14 months. If you hate Friday the 13th, as a ground ball from number 13 to another number 13, a ground ball to shortstop for out number 1, Jake Taylor is retired to kick off the 5th inning. So anyways, Friday the 13th, why do people hate it? Well, the answer is nobody truly knows where it started. It's unclear why it's feared. Some people think it dates back to the 19th century, although that isn't confirmed through all of my research. So if I didn't find it, it clearly isn't the case. As ball 1 delivered low and inside to John Ray, the leadoff hitter. He is 2 for 2 so far on the evening.
I've got to tell you, though, Friday the 13th for me personally.
As the 0-1 pitch, fielded by Smitty, the big right-hander, tosses underhand over to Logan Wyatt. 2 quick outs for Smitty.
The number 13 shining on the diamond so far tonight, pitching well into his 5th inning of work. Like I was saying, personally, Friday the 13th, a pretty good day for me. My mother, who's in the ballpark tonight as well, sitting actually a few feet in front of us as we're on the hill here at Eldridge Park, born on a Friday the 13th. I won't give you the year, but she looks 25 years young, I promise.
Number 13 painted on the back of the mound, Eric Miller, the left-hander for Orleans, was also born on a Friday the 13th as a fastball inside for a strike to Greg Jones. 2 away here in the top of the 5th inning. It's 3-0 Chatham. He'll swing away. Ground ball up the middle. Aldretti fields on a backhand. A tough throw. In time to get the speedy Greg Jones. Jones is heated with the call, but it's out number 3. The inning is over on a fine play from Carter Aldretti, who continues to dazzle with the glove and the bat. We'll head to the bottom of the 5th inning here from Eldridge Park. It is Chatham 3. And Orleans nothing. We'll step away for a moment. Be right back on the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. Welcome back to Orleans. It's our inaugural edition of Friday from the Hill. So to interact with the community, our very own Eliav Gabai, walking around Eldridge Park, finding some fans in attendance here to talk with. So Eliav's first fan interview of the night. Take it away, Eliav.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Orleans Firebirds fan Rick Marvin. Rick, how long have you been following the Firebirds?
Well, we've been coming out here since '98. We house some Cardinals, and I've thrown some batting practice and done all the volunteer stuff that you've seen me do here.
Well, how have you seen the organization progress?
Well, of course, they went from the Cardinals on to the Firebirds, and change of managers here and there. They've got their different styles, but all in all, it's really good baseball. We love coming.
Now, I have a tough one for you here. What's your favorite Eldridge Park memory?
Well, the funniest one is that there used to be a stand of trees out in right field foul territory, and a skunk went all the way over to the left field foul line with Mr. Firebird shooing it along, and then it decided to go back all the way to the right field line, and it took about an hour for it all to happen, so it was kind of funny.
That's funny for sure. Thanks so much, Rick. Back to you guys.
That is a fun facet of this game, and Eliav, great stuff as always. A man of the people tonight is Eliav Gabai, as it'll be Justin Levy leading things off for Orleans in the home half of the fifth inning. It's 3-0 Chatham as Dan Hammer delivers a fastball in there for strike number one to another Louisville Cardinal as they are scattered all over the diamond tonight for Orleans. Obviously, Shea Smitty on the mound, Logan Wyatt, Justin Levy. You also have some Vanderbilt Commodores as always. As Hammer's 0-1 pitch into Levy popped up right back towards us. You better get your glove, Josh. It's going to bounce just in front of us. A souvenir for a fan. Our gloves are ready. We do not get it that time. Instead, it's just strike number two.
Oh, I was ready, Braden. There was a quick glove transition on. I grabbed it right off the table, put the rec specs on, if you will, and was ready to go.
That left-handed catcher's mitt, as we discussed earlier in the broadcast. My heart was racing there. I thought it was possibly our chance to shine. Instead, a souvenir for a young child. The 0-2 pitch. Levy fouls it off back to the net. And the count remains the same. It's 0-2.
And about that interview that Eliav Gabai had with Rick from the crowd, it was fantastic to hear. I think the favorite part of that I took was his favorite memory. He spoke about a skunk that traveled from right field to left field and how the Firebirds mascot back in the day used to chase it.
The 0-2 pitch to Justin Levy. A ground ball back up the middle. Fielded on a backhand by Bush, who bobbles the ball. And Levy will reach on an E4 to kick off the inning. The second error of the night for Chatham. And the Birds have a leadoff base runner aboard here in the bottom of the fifth.
Very rare to see this Chatham defense make a lot of defensive miscues. A team collectively that came with a .966 fielding percentage, but for whatever reason tonight, Chatham not so outstanding defensively. That one getting charged to Bush here on what looked like a routine ground out.
So Matt Frazier, the left-handed batter from Arizona, who reached out an error at his first AB, will try to pick up where he left off yesterday. Looked very calm and comfortable in the batter's box. He swings away and fouls the pitch off to the net, right in front of our usual home here at Eldridge Park, right behind home plate, just to the left of home plate, I should say. It's 0-1 to Frazier. I'm going to close the door on Friday the 13th with this. Now, this might leave you feeling a bit uneasy, I should say. On Friday, April 13th, 2029, so you got 11 years to prepare yourself, an asteroid will fly by the Earth. At first, it was believed that it might collide with the Earth back in 2004 as the 0-1 pitch. Frazier swings away. Popped up lazily to shallow left field. The catch is made by Greg Jones for out number one. But anyways, so an asteroid will fly by Earth on a Friday the 13th in 2029. Don't fear, it will not collide with Earth, but it will be close enough to see without a telescope. So we're talking pretty close range. And of course it would happen on a Friday the 13th. That's just the only way it could happen. One of the most superstitious dates in Western civilization, you can't say.
Britton, you told me that last one would make me feel easier about Friday the 13th. That's making me scareder.
No, I said uneasy.
Oh, uneasy. I apologize.
Yeah, no. So
I thought the last one was to try and get all of the Friday the 13th facts out of the way.
I told you this early. You have 11 years to prepare yourself.
That's a lot of preparation time.
Right. I mean, luckily it won't hit the planet as of now. Salgazzo, the batter, looks at ball one down near the shoe tops. He was squared around to bunt. He pulled back. So Levy stands at first base. After reaching on an error, it's 3-0 Chatham here in the home half of the fifth inning. Friday from the Hill, Braden Bell, Josh White. We're enjoying our time up here on the famed hill at Eldridge Park. The 0-1 pitch to Gazzo, a fastball just a bit high. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Gazzo, the young man from Tulane, had a productive out in his first AB, grounded out to second base. Trying to pick up a base hit here for the Firebirds. The 2-0 pitch. Gazzo swings away. It's now 2 balls and 1 strike.
Some action in the Orleans bullpen. A right-hander getting loose for the Firebirds. Looks like that's Carlisle Kessler getting loose for the Birds.
A right-hander from southeastern Louisiana beginning to throw for Orleans. Smitty did a great job for the Birds. Went 5 innings as the throw over to Levy. They check on him at first. He's back in there safely. But that's just about what you'd want from Smitty. Obviously, the 3 runs, not a perfect night on the hill for him, but the offense hasn't been able to back him up at all. Comes the 2-1 pitch to Smitty. He swings away. It's a blooper that Greg Jones, the shortstop, will be able to catch over the shoulder. Levy was off and running with a pitch, and it's an easy double play to end the frame. Sloppy base running for the Firebirds. Levy might have thought there were 2 outs. The inning is over, and things continuing to go from bad to worse for Orleans as we're through 5 complete innings from Eldridge Park. The Anglers on top of the rival Orleans Firebirds. It's 3-0. We'll step away, take a quick break here on the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. For the first time in 2018, an Orleans Firebirds starting pitcher is back out there for the 6th inning, and it is Shea Smitty. Who would have guessed that, as he started out this summer as a reliever for the first 11 appearances, and in fact just pitched 2 days ago. But here he is for Kelly Nicholson, appearing on the mound yet again. He will face the heart of the lineup for Chatham. It'll be 3-4-5 due up for the Anglers here in the top of the 6th inning. It's 3-0 Anglers. It's Chatham looking for their first win over Orleans here in 2018. It'll be Michael Bush to lead things off for the Anglers. He is 0 for 1. He walked back in the first against Smitty. So we mentioned there's action in the Firebird bullpen right now, but it appears it's Shea's game for now. We'll see if he can work through the 6th after just throwing 5 pitches last frame for Orleans. Bush, a .306 hitter so far through 10 games for Chatham, entering tonight as he looks at ball 1 high from Smitty. He had a breakout campaign for North Carolina, mainly with the power ball. Comes the 0-1 pitch. It's lined back up the middle, a base hit past the second baseman Aldretti. And the Anglers really getting it going offensively tonight. They now have a hit in every single inning except for last one, and it's a leadoff single from Bush.
Yeah, and this was an Anglers team that was just hitting a .143 entering the night against the Firebirds. Orleans really shut them out. But for whatever reason tonight, Shea Smitty has not had his best stuff. He's doing a great job, though, eating a lot of innings after just pitching 2 days ago.
So it's Drew Mendoza who will dig in for Chatham. He was robbed of a hit in his first AB on a diving stop from Logan Wyatt as Michael Bush stands off first base. Nobody out here in the top of the 6th inning. It's 3-0 Chatham as Smitty delivers a fastball low into the dirt. Bush read dirt ball. He dives in head first, and he has swiped the bag. A good read from Bush, and just like that, a runner in scoring position for the Anglers.
A rough job right there for the Firebirds. A tough break as well, and it sounds a little crazy to have your cleanup hitter bunt, but if I'm Chatham, I might do it right here. Drew Mendoza, a struggling hitter. You're already up 3-0. Runs are at a premium in this ball game. I'd bunt, push a 4th runner across if possible to take a commanding lead.
We'll see what the Anglers try to do here. Already up 3-0. Bush leads off second with an aggressive secondary lead. Ball 2 delivered high to Drew Mendoza. Attending Florida State, he's a Seminole through and through. Both of his parents went to FSU. He grew up going to games in Tallahassee. Decided to play college ball there as well. Rocking the Florida State colors and his cleats tonight as well, also in garnet and gold. An ACC matchup. Shea Smitty, the right-hander for Orleans, try to work through this jam. It's 2-0, and a swing over the top of a fastball low in the zone by Mendoza. Pushes the count to 2 balls and a strike. Mendoza played last summer with the YD Red Sox. Was supposed to return to them, but he told Steve Pickler, the manager for the Red Sox, he only wanted a DH. Pickler was not about that. Because of that, he decided to open it up as Smitty just threw the ball into center field. Nobody was covering second base. Advancing to third is Bush on an extremely sloppy baseball play as Smitty turned to throw the ball to second, saw nobody was there, then didn't know whether to throw it or not. He ended up throwing it a mile high into center field, and the runner moves to third base on a sloppy decision from Smitty.
Yeah, if you're Shea, obviously you threw a couple days ago. You've been a reliever all summer, just trying to get adjusted and maybe a little nervous here on a Friday night. Big game against the rival. Your team hasn't won in a few games. And now it's kind of your chance to try and get back on track, and Smitty just airmails the pickoff throw. That'll go down as an E1.
So it's 2 balls and a strike. The infield will now come in for Orleans in a situation where you do not want to go down 4 runs, especially with the way the Firebird offense has struggled tonight against Dan Hammer. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. Ground ball to the right side, past the diving Aldretti. It'll be an RBI single for Drew Mendoza. And the Anglers now lead it 4-0. Producing a run with a bit of help from sloppy Orleans Firebirds baseball. It's now 4-0 Anglers.
And Braden, we talk about how leadoff base runners can kill you. A wild pitch not obviously going to aid that. Then an error on Smitty. And then just a nice, well-hit single through the right side by Mendoza. And that will end the day for Smitty. But hats off to the kid from Louisville. Obviously a spot start for him, just trying to give the Birds some innings with their rotation a little fluctuating at the moment. So good job by him to get the Birds into the 6th.
You said it, Josh. That's the end of the line for Shea Smitty. He does a pretty good job for Orleans. A surprising 5+ inning debut as a starter this summer. But unfortunately for Orleans, it's 4-0 Anglers. We'll introduce you to the new pitcher out of the bullpen for the Firebirds coming up next on the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. Welcome back to Eldridge Park. New pitcher out there for the Orleans Firebirds. It's Corey Giacone, the right-hander out of southeastern Louisiana, taking over. And Giacone so far at his first 2 appearances has been very strong for Orleans. Has not allowed an earned run yet. Just 2 hits through his first 3 innings of work. He last pitched against these Chatham Anglers 4 nights ago. He went 2 frames, just 1 hit allowed. Had a strikeout and a walk. But he's entering tonight with a runner at first base after a run already coming across here in the 6th inning. An RBI single just moments ago from Drew Mendoza into the night for Shea Smitty.
Partial line of 5+ innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned, 2 walks and a strikeout. He is still responsible for Mendoza on first after reaching with that RBI single.
So it's Colin Simpson, and we talked about Kyle Schwarber at the beginning of the night. Well, at Oklahoma State, they call Simpson Mini Schwartz, a similar body style at 5'9", 224. He looks at a fastball in there that dots the bottom of the zone for strike number 1. The Edmond, Oklahoma native Playing his ball in Stillwater, Oklahoma. The 0-1 pitch outside from Jacody. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Now, don't let his stature fool you. At 5'9", 224, he's a big guy, a bulky guy, if you will. But he was seen before the rivalry game, Bedlam, against Oklahoma, doing backflips on the field. This is a guy with quite a bit of athleticism as he swings over the top of a breaking ball. It's now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Already 1 run across for Chatham here in the 6th inning. It's 4-0 Anglers. Looking for their first win of the season over Orleans. As Jacody will throw a pickoff move. Mendoza dives back in headlong. He's in there safely. The count's still 1 ball and 2 strikes.
It's a big spot in this ball game. They really need Jacody to get out of it, and the Firebirds are going to stand a chance in later innings.
The 1-2 pitch fouled off. Simpson stays alive. It's still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Call it a guy who can really play a solid outfield position. Known more for his bat, but he struggled so far this season. Here in Chatham, 25 games, just a 156 average. Here comes the 1-2 pitch. Ground ball to the right side, fielded by Aldretti. The forearm toss to Gazzo, who turns it beautifully for a 4-6-3 double play. And a great job from Aldretti and Gazzo to turn it. And Logan Wyatt finishes it off for the double play.
That might have been one of the more pretty double plays we've seen this season from Orleans. Nice turn from Aldretti to Gazzo as their chemistry continues to build. So now we can close the line on Shaseman. He went 5+ innings, 6 hits, 4 runs. All of them earned 2 walks and a K. He's currently in line for his first loss of the summer.
The Firebird offense going to have to try to pick him up. They've only been able to gather 1 hit against Dan Hammer, the Chatham starting pitcher so far. So now 2 away after the double play. It'll be Kyle McCann, the first baseman, who will look at strike 1 on a breaking ball from Jacody, who did his job right out of the pen, inducing the double play. Now just has to finish it off and get the final out here to Kyle McCann. Breaking ball is low in the dirt. It's 1 ball and 1 strike to the Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket. 267 average entering tonight with 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. The 1-1 pitch outside. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. You often hear about a sophomore slump. It was not that way for McCann. He said he was kind of just going through the motions as a freshman. He really picked up his play a lot as he looks at ball 2 outside, becoming more comfortable in a sophomore year with the Yellow Jackets. Hit .300 for Georgia Tech this past season with 15 long balls and 45 RBIs. Comes the 2-1 pitch. A ground ball to the right side, gloved by Wyatt. He'll take it himself, touch the bag. The inning is over. The Anglers do tack on another run, however, after a Drew Mendoza RBI single. And we'll head to the home half of the 6th inning with Chatham on top of Orleans. It's 4-0. The Birds with just 1 hit so far tonight. We'll see if the offense can get it going. It's the top of the lineup, 2 up, and Logan Wyatt, Carter Aldretti, and J.J. Blade coming up next on the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. Back for the home half of the 6th inning. Dan Hammer still out there on the bump for Chatham. That shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. He's dazzled so far for Chatham. Just 1 base hit for Orleans. That came all the way back in the 1st inning off the bat of Carter Aldretti. He'll be up 2nd in this frame as Logan Wyatt will lead things off. The first leadoff position outing of his career. Little league, middle school, high school, college, anything. The first time he's ever batted first in a starting lineup. He told Josh before the game that story. He's 0 for 2 so far. We'll see if he can get it going for Orleans here to start the home half of the 6th.
We didn't go as low as T-ball, so that's bad reporting on my part, but at least up until Little League.
I won't call you fake news, but next time check on T-ball for me as he looks at strike one on the inside corner to Logan Wyatt. Dan Hammer, a guy who really has impressed tonight. He delivers the 0-1 pitch off the heel of Hammer. It'll be fielded by the third baseman Arenas. The throw goes high on one of the wackiest plays you'll ever see. That went off of the ankle of Hammer in the air, fielded by Arenas, who had plenty of time and then threw the ball high. Logan Wyatt reaches, and that was a wild sequence. The Birds have a base runner here to lead off the bottom of the 6th.
Yeah, obviously your routine way to reach base if you're the leadoff hitter in Logan Wyatt, way to take a ground ball off the pitcher's leg and then reach on the high throw. But at the end of the day, that's all that matters is Logan Wyatt reaches base, and that's huge for the Birds, who only have 1 hit so far tonight. Any runner you can get on base is icing on the cake for Orleans, trailing by 4.
So they're going to call that a single for Logan Wyatt, the 2nd hit of the night now for Orleans. And now it'll be the other Firebird who has a hit, Carter Aldretti, stepping in. That double back in the 1st inning that ran all the way up against the wall in left field. Wyatt leads off of first base as Aldretti looks at a breaking ball in there for strike number 1. Carter, who has been red hot as of late, out of nowhere, was struggling a bit for the Firebirds, hit 2 home runs against Chatham, and then the next night hit 2 more against the Cotuit Cavaliers. 4 homers in 2 games, never a bad thing. The 0-1 pitch, a fastball that runs low and outside, to equal up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. There is some action out there in the Angler bullpen, which could be a refreshing sight if you're an Orleans Firebirds fan, because of Hammer's success so far. 1 ball and 1 strike to the Arizona State Sun Devil, Carter Aldretti. Hammer kicks and fires, a fastball that catches the strike zone. It's 1-2.
For Wyatt leading off first base, he's now reached in 10 consecutive ball games, and that's really the reason why Kelly Nicholson moved him up to the leadoff spot, is because he finds a way to get on base. It feels like practically every other plate appearance, if not 2 or 3 times a game.
See if Aldretti can choke up on the bat and produce with 2 strikes. Here it comes from Hammer. He swings over the top of a fine breaking ball. Dan Hammer now with his 3rd strikeout of the night. And there's 1 away in the home half of the 6th.
And Dan Hammer, not a guy who's going to blow you away with his speed, but his command has been spot on today, painting the corners, also throwing balls up in the zone that are very tempting to hit, and the Firebirds keep chasing them and just can't really find anything to do and manufacture runs.
So it's J.J. Blade digging in. He's 0 for 2 so far. 2 flyouts to his credit as he looks at fastball in there for strike number 1. 4-0 Chatham over Orleans. They've been able to scratch across a single run in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 6th innings. Orleans just 2 hits total. One of them coming from Logan Wyatt, who stands at first base right now, as Blade looks at a fastball that runs high, way out of the strike zone for ball number 1.
And Braden, this is really the chance Orleans needs to capitalize on. Base runners for the Firebirds have been few and far between. Once you got someone on, especially in the leadoff situation, got to find a way to bring them home.
Hammer kicks and fires a 1-1 pitch. Blade swings, fouls it off, and it'll go over the netting. A souvenir. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Wyatt was able to reach on that wacky sequence on a base hit up the middle that went off the ankle of Hammer. Flew in the air to the third baseman Arenas, who could not successfully make the throw. It was marked a hit, the 2nd of the night for Orleans. J.J. Blade in there right now for the Firebirds. A 1-2 pitch coming from Dan Hammer, the right-hander from Pittsburgh. He kicks and fires the 1-2 pitch. Same location, another souvenir, and the count stays 1-2.
Braden, you made note of this in the early goings of the baseball game. Our angle tonight, very different, and you can really see just how late and early hitters are. And JJ, for whatever reason, who's a fantastic hitter, great at timing the baseball, very late in a few at-bats tonight. Hammer pitching him more inside part of the plate, in on the hands. He's got to be out in front of that baseball, try and put the hands inside the baseball and take it down the right field line.
Comes the 1-2 pitch from Dan Hammer. Blade looks at ball 2 just downstairs. It's now 2-2. Another thing you can tell from this angle, Josh, is a bit of the movement. You can't tell as much from when you're sitting behind home plate. There's been some fine benders from Dan Hammer as well. And that's something you can really tell with this side angle we have here tonight up on the hill. Comes the 2-2 pitch from Hammer into J.J. Blade. swings away, sends a ball to right center field. It's going to be trouble. Hits off the warning track against the wall. Wyatt will round second, head to third. It'll be held up by Chris Constantine, but it's a ringing double off the bat of J.J. Blade, and the Birds have runners at second and third with only one away.
Braden, what I love about our vantage point tonight is you can really hear the woes and the ohs and you name it. The fans thought that ball was going to carry and carry and carry, but Blade almost hit that to the deepest part of the ballpark, at least 380, 390 feet away out in right center field. But a good chance here for Orleans. 2 runners in scoring position, something they haven't had all night long. And you have the guy who can hit the ball out in a hurry, and Nick Osborne stepping in.
A no-doubt double off the bat of Blade. There was question for a moment whether that ball would carry like you said, but there was no chance that Rave, the center fielder, was going to be able to make that catch. So infield playing back for Chatham, being up 4-0. Nick Osborne trying to change that right here. 2 birds in the nest as he looks at a breaking ball low and outside for ball number 1. Osborne so far 0 for 1. He reached after being hit by a pitch in his last AB. 5 home runs through his first 12 games. That's been well documented. He has 12 RBIs, but also he needs to be given props just how consistent he's been. He's gotten a hit in 10 of the 12 games so far offensively for Orleans. Right-handed batter wags the bat over his shoulder and looks at ball 2 outside as Hammer finally working through a bit of trouble for the first time tonight. We'll see how he responds for Chatham.
And if you're Dan Hammer, there's nothing to be scared about right now. Your team has sported you a 4-0 lead. You'll trading out for a run right here any day of the week to try and get closer to getting out of the jam.
2 balls and no strikes to Nick Osborne. Osborne swings away, fouls it off just to the left of Chris Constantine, the third base coach for Orleans. So again, now 2 balls and a strike. Logan Wyatt stands at third. J.J. Blade at second. 2 hits in this inning for Orleans. That's more than they had the entire game entering this inning. Hammer trying to work around the jam. Osborne trying to breathe some life into Eldridge Park. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. Osborne swings, fouls it back right behind us here on the hill. It's now 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Nick Osborne trying to battle and stay alive here. Dan Hammer's been outstanding, but Osborne can really change the entire narrative of the outing with one swing of the bat here. Hammer peers in, gets the sign from Jake Taylor, his battery mate. Kicks and fires the 2-2 pitch. Osborne changes a breaking ball out of the strike zone. Swings and misses, and now there are 2 away. A huge strikeout for Hammer right there.
Braden, what they say about great pitchers is they get more locked in as the game goes on, and obviously Hammer struggled a little bit in this inning, but that strikeout pitch starting to work for him kept Nick Osborne, a guy who's got a great bat, off balance right there.
So it'll be up to Pat DeMarco, but before that happens, there's going to be a mound visit, as Hammer has been outstanding through 5 2/3. But we'll see whether or not he is left in the ballgame. I mentioned how there's an angler in the pen right now. Hammer conferencing with Jake Taylor and the pitching coach as well for Chatham. So the situation is as follows. Runners at second and third, 2 away in the bottom of the 6th inning. Hammer's going to remain in the ball game as the mound visit is over. They're discussing how to pitch to Pat DeMarco, who's 0 for 2 so far. Birds trail Chatham. It's 4-0 here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Eliav Gabai will have another interview in between innings as we're ranging out in the community tonight on Friday from the Hill. DeMarco the batter. Here's the first pitch to him. Pat looks at a breaking ball in there for strike number 1 at the knees. As Dan Hammer really feeling himself after that strikeout of Nick Osborne. 2 hits in the inning for Orleans. They need to scratch across a run, though, to make this a real ball game. Here comes the 0-1. Hammer kicks and fires. Bouncing ball to the right side. Fielded on a big-time hop from Bush, and the throw over to McCann in time. A 4-3 putout. And the Birds strand runners at second and third base and remain scoreless as we're through 6 full innings at Eldridge Park. It's Chatham 4, Orleans nothing. It'll be Eliav Gabai down on the field, chatting with Tyler Kasuva, the head intern for the Orleans Firebirds. So Eliav, take it away.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with head intern Tyler Kasuba. First of all, Tyler, what goes into the setup of this beautiful Eldridge Park?
So we kind of got to take care of the grounds in terms of the signage. We set up the retail shop every night. We got to be in position to do the admissions tables to make sure people are out there greeting the fans. We have to be out there in the parking lot early, too, to make sure people know what they're doing, where they're going. Sometimes it can get a little confusing with how many cars are out there, so we got to be really prepared to, have everybody in position to be out there when they need to be.
Well, that's a lot. So what's the toughest part that people don't realize the field interns have to do?
So I'd say it's not even what we do. It's just the long hours, the nights, the weekends that people don't really think about when it comes to sports. Everyone thinks it's all luxury, the players, everything like that. Everybody wants to be a part of it. But when it really comes down to it, you guys know too, it's the long nights, the weekends, all that, those extra hours you have to put in.
Yeah, and no doubt about that. And what's your favorite part about being a Firebirds intern?
You really just have to love the atmosphere, being around here. All these young guys that are buzzing around, trying to get to the show, and just being around that, being around the fans. Everybody loves it down here. It's always a good time. Everybody's all loose, hanging out, and just being a part of it. It's a big resume builder as well, and we hope to see that too.
Well, thanks so much, Tyler. Back to you.
Chatham with a 4-0 lead as we head to the top of the 7th here at Eldridge Park. The bottom third of the order for the Anglers. Blake Sable, Jorge Arenas, and Jake Taylor set the face on the right-hander Corey Giacone for his second inning of work. Sable digs in from the left side. First pitch from Giacone. Fastball outside for ball 1. Blake Sable 1 for 1 tonight with a couple of RBIs. Had a solo blast in the second, his 5th home run of the summer. 1-0 pitch from Giacone. Fastball cut on and missed, and that evens up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. In his second at-bat, the right fielder from USC had a sacrifice fly out to left field to add to the Chatham tally. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball corked out to right field over the head of Logan Wyatt, and that one dinks in for a base hit. Sable will take the large turnaround first base, but he'll think better of it, and he's aboard for the second time tonight, a leadoff base runner here for the Chatham A's in the top of the 7th.
Tough break there for Giacone. He executed his pitch and, in fact, jammed Blake Sable there at a fastball in on the hands. Just a better piece of hitting as Sable was able to keep those hands in as much as possible and just dish out a very soft hit over the head of Logan White in no man's land to lead off the 7th.
So now Jorge Arenas, the third baseman from Stetson, will dig in from the right side. He's 0 for 2 tonight. First pitch. Arenas showing bunt, bunts it up the third baseline. Giacone barehands it, tosses to Wyatt at first in time, but a successful sacrifice bunt for Jorge Arenas as Sable advances 90 feet, and he's into scoring position with 1 down in the top of the 7th.
Love that move if you're the Chatham Anglers and Tom Holliday right now. You already have this game in control, obviously being up 4-0, but a 5th run just adds insult to injury, makes it so the Firebirds couldn't tie it with one swing of the bat with a grand slam per se, and so it is a big 5th run that's out there, and a successful sacrifice bunt by Arenas.
So Jake Taylor digs in from the right side. First pitch. Fastball runs inside for ball 1. It's the Anglers 4, the Firebirds nothing here in the top of the 7th with 1 away. Taylor 0 for 1 tonight, was hit by the pitch back in the 3rd, and was stranded right there at third base. Right-hander comes set. Here's the 1-0. Fastball that just misses outside, and now Giacone falls behind 2 balls and no strikes. The Firebirds offense struggling tonight just with 2 hits. Chatham on the other end, having an offensive explosion, if you will, with 4 runs on 6 hits. Here's the 1-1. Fastball grounded up the third base line and foul. And we'll do it now at 1 ball and, or I beg your pardon, 2 balls and 1 strike. Taylor, the catcher from Oklahoma State, trying to add to this Chatham lead. Firebirds up in the season series 3-0, but the Anglers trying to pick up a win. Taylor exchanges out the bats as he broke his wood on the last swing. Taylor struggling so far this summer, just batting .094. Rising sophomore, just 1 for his last 22. Here's the 2-1. Fastball pops up on the right side of the infield. The pitcher, Giacone, comes off the rubber. Wyatt, the first baseman, comes on, and he makes the play in foul territory for the second out of the inning.
And a big out at that after the sac bunt. It looked like the Anglers were ready to put together a big-time rally, but now after that pop-up in foul territory, it's going to have to be a base hit for Rave. He can't do it in a cheap way. See if Giacone can work around this and get out of another jam. He's been fantastic so far out of the pen in his short stint with Orleans, and 1 out away from having another strong outing.
That'll flip it back to the top of the order for the Chatham A's. John Rave, the center fielder, digs in. First pitch. Breaking ball that runs outside for ball one. It's Chatham 4, Orleans nothing. Here with 2 away in the top of the 7th. Sabo leads off second base after singling and then being moved on the sacrifice bunt. Right-hander Ciccone comes set, kicks and fires the 1-0. Fastball that misses outside, and Ciccone falls behind 2 balls and no strikes. On the other side for the Chatham A's, it was Dan Hammer tossing 6 innings of dazzling baseball. No runs and just a couple of hits for the Firebirds. 2-0. Fastball that misses outside, and Corey Ciccone falls behind 3 balls and no strikes. Rave 2 for 3 tonight with a couple of singles. The right-hander comes set on the hill. Here's the 3-0. Get me over fastball that just misses outside. And a shocking call from Warren Nicholson, the home plate umpire. John Rave even thought that was a strike, but nonetheless, he'll trot down to first base as he's worked a 4-pitch walk, and the Anglers have 2 on with 2 out in the top of the 7th.
We should mention no relation between Kelly Nicholson and Warren Nicholson, the home plate umpire, but yeah, kind of a surprising call, if you will. Looked like a strike for sure, but now runners at first and second.
First pitch from Ciccone to Jones misses outside for ball 1. So that's now 5 consecutive balls from the right-hander from southeastern Louisiana, the 1-0. Fastball hit on the ground to the right side, backhanded by Wyatt. He'll underhand toss it to Ciccone in time to beat the speedy Jones, and the side is retired. So Chatham mounts another rally, but the Firebirds close the door and keep the Anglers off the board. Chatham scores no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 2 runs left on base. We've reached stretch time here at Eldridge Park. We'll throw on a special interview here as Eliav Gabai caught up with the general manager of the Firebirds in Sue Horton. You can hear the rest of that interview as Sue Horton chatted with Eliav Gabai on our Twitter page at Firebirds CCBL. Now back to the baseball here at Eldridge Park. Bottom of the 7th, 4-0 in favor of Chatham. Catcher from Vanderbilt, Phil Clark, takes in from the left side, set to face the new arm into the ballgame in Jack Conlin. So we'll give you the final line on Dan Hammer, the right-hander from Pittsburgh. He went 6 shutout innings, just 3 hits, no walks, and 4 Ks. First pitch from Conlin. Fastball rolled over down the first base line and foul for strike 1. Phil Clark 0 for 2 tonight, grounded out to the second baseman Bush back in the 2nd and struck out swinging in the 4th. Conlin, the righty, gets his sign. Wheels and deals. Here's the 0-1. Fastball cut on and missed. And that'll make the count no balls and 2 strikes. So Conlin, the right-hander from Texas A&M, Sugar Land, Texas native. He's ahead of Clark 0-2. Long stare in for the right-hander. Here's the 0-2. Fastball that runs outside, and that'll make the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Firebirds is trying to mount something here. Just 3 hits so far for the Birds. Their first 6 offensive opportunities. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Fastball grounded to the first baseman, McCann. He'll take it to the bag himself for an easy putout. That's now 3 straight retired in a row by the Chatham pitching staff. There's 1 down in the home half of the 7th.
Yeah, and the end of the line for Dan Hammer, he was fantastic. 6 innings as the starting pitcher, just 3 hits against the Firebirds. Nobody scoring, obviously. No walks as well with 4 strikeouts. Hammer really did impress tonight for Chatham, and he's obviously in line to be the winning pitcher, deservingly so.
So Justin Levy digs in. First pitch, breaking ball, that fool save him for strike 1. Third baseman from the University of Louisville, 0 for 2 tonight with a couple of ground downs. 1 down here in the home half of the 7th. Chatham leads 4-0 over Orleans. Righty on righty matchup. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Fastball that runs inside just above the letters of Levy. And that equals up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Levy trying to pick up his college teammate, Shea Smitty, who started this ball game, who's in line for his first loss of the summer. Here's the 1-1. Fastball cut on and missed, and Conlon jumps ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Conlon was slated to start this game just the other day for the Chatham A's. But in fact, it was Dan Hammer who got the starting nod from Tom Holliday. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball in the dirt, and that evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Conlon in 4 games pitched so far this summer with 3 starts is 2-0 with a 4.05 ERA. So we've seen Tom Holliday do this in his first season in Chatham, try and piggyback a couple of starters. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball that ties up Levy, strike 3. As Levy couldn't lay off the breaking ball away, and there's 2 retired in the home half of the 7th.
And really what we're seeing tonight from Chatham pitching should not surprise us, although they've struggled against the Firebirds so far. In the rest of the season, they've been great. They're 3rd in ERA, 1st in strikeouts, 5th overall in runs allowed. So they're a very strong pitching staff, and they're just having one of those nights where everything going right for them.
So Matt Frazier digs in. First pitch. Breaking ball cut on and missed for strike 1. Frazier 0 for 2 tonight, reached on an error in the 3rd before popping up to the 3rd baseman, I should say the shortstop, Greg Jones. Conlon ahead 0-1. Right-hander kicks and fires. Here's the pitch. Fastball that runs outside, and that evens up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Chatham all over Orleans, 4-0 here in the home half of the 7th. Conlon gets his sign, kicks and fires. Here's the 1-1. Breaking ball rolled over down the first base line, and Conlon jumps ahead 1 ball and 2 strikes. Matt Frazier struggling so far this summer for the Birds. Starting to heat up just a touch. Went off a good game last night. We had a couple of base hits. Conlon ahead of him 1-2. Here's the pitch from the right-hander. Breaking ball fought off by Frazier onto Route 28 here in Orleans, Massachusetts. And we'll do it again at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
We've talked about the different vantage points. Another thing we can tell is how close some of these foul balls are to hitting cars. You can't really tell from our angle. It's the 3rd time the car's nearly been hit.
The 1-2. Breaking ball crushed out to right center field. The center fielder Rave ranges back, and he makes the catch. And that will retire the side. So Matt Frazier put a good drive into that baseball. But as Eldridge Park is known for, a deep center field, and Rave had plenty of space. So Conlon comes in and fires a 1-2-3 inning for the Chatham A's. We'll to the top of the 8th here at Eldridge Park. 4-0 to score in favor of the Anglers. You're listening to the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network.
Chatham with a 4-0 lead over Orleans as we get to the top of the 8th here at Eldridge Park. At the heart of the order for the Anglers, Michael Bush, Drew Mendoza, and Colin Simpson set to face Corey Giacone out for his 3rd inning of work. Bush, the second baseman from North Carolina, digs in from the left side. 1 for 2 today. Here's the pitch. Fastball on the inside corner at the knees of Bush for strike 1. Bush walked in the first before being stranded out there on the base pass. Singleton came around to score in the 6th. Righty on lefty matchup. Giacone gets a sign from the catcher, Clark. Here's the 0-1. Breaking ball that paints the outside corner, and Corey Giacone jumps ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. It's been Chatham all over Orleans from start to finish in this one. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Giacone. Fastball that runs up and away above the helmet of Bush. And that'll make the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Anglers 4 runs on 7 hits, a couple of errors. For Orleans, no runs on 3 hits with 1 defensive miscue. Here's the 1-2 pitch from the right-hander. Breaking ball that runs outside in the dirt, and that evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Giacone. Fastball hit the other way, grounded to the shortstop Gazzo. He'll double clutch and throw out Bush by a step. 1 up and 1 down. Here to start the top of the 8th.
How about Corey Giacone coming in, really being a shutdown reliever for the Firebirds? Came in with a runner at first, immediately induced a double play, and ever since has been very strong. He's kind of been that surprise out of the pen. This bullpen really struggling for Orleans for the most part, but he's now went 3 1/3 innings of relief and has just looked so strong.
So Drew Mendoza digs in. First pitch from Giacone. Fastball on the outside corner, called strike 1. Mendoza, the left-handed hitting DH from Florida State. 1 for 3 today with an RBI base hit back in the 6th. Here's the 0-1. Fastball pops up into the shallow part of the outfield. The second baseman Aldretti battling the lights. A couple steps on the outfield grass, makes the 2-handed catch for the 2nd out of the inning. So 2 quick outs for Corey Giacone in his 3rd inning of work. With the Chatham A's on top of the Orleans Firebirds, 4-0. Now the left fielder from Oklahoma State will dig in from the left side. Simpson, 1 for 3 today, had a double in the 4th and came around to score. Righty on lefty matchup. Here's the pitch from Giacone. Breaking ball that runs outside for ball 1. It was Shea Smitty who got this game going for the Firebirds, making his first start of the summer. Here's the 1-0 pitch from the right-hander. Fastball lifted out to deep right field. The right fielder, Baudet, ranges back. He's in the right center field fence. And this one kicks off the wall. Simpson digging for second. He'll take the turnaround third. The relay throw from Aldretti. In time! What a relay from the Orleans defense. From J.J. Baudet, carry him off the wall to Carter Aldretti to pin Colin Simpson at third base. The left fielder from Oklahoma State had a double in hand, but he tried going for a triple and was thrown out. We're to the home half of the 8th here at Eldridge Park as the Chatham Anglers score no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on base. Firebirds looking to get on the scoreboard here. Listen to the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. Chatham 4, Orleans nothing as we head to the home half of the 4th. Home half of the 8th, I beg your pardon, here at Eldridge Park. We'll have a new hitter into the ball game for the Firebirds. The switch hitting catcher James Free II
will pinch hit for Sal Gazzo in the 9 spot, followed by Logan White and Carter Aldretti, set to face Jack Conlon. So James Freed II, the catcher from Pacific, will get his first AB of the night. Freed has not played the last couple of days, with Phil Clark's bat starting to heat up behind the dish. Freed II just batting $183 with 1 home run and 6 RBIs through his first 17 games, trying to give the Birds their 4th hit of the night. Been offensive struggles so far for Orleans, just 3 combined hits through the first 7 innings. So the 6'2" catcher will dig in from the left side. Conlon back out there. Here's the first pitch from the right-hander. Breaking ball that runs outside for ball 1. So Sal Gazzo's night comes to an end. He went 0 for 2 at the plate. Righty on lefty matchup. Conlon gets his sign, wheels and deals. Here's the 1-0. Fastball on a line right at the second baseman Bush as he cuts it off. A good swing by James Freed II, but in the wrong spot, and there's 1 away in the bottom of the 8th.
It's kind of the story so far of the season for James Freed II, just hitting it right at people, squaring up baseballs. It just hasn't been his way, and sometimes that's just the way this game could be. It's a brutal game, and it just hasn't gone the way of James Freed II's luck so far this summer.
So now Logan Wyatt will dig in for the 4th time tonight, batting leadoff for the first time in his career. First pitch. Breaking ball that runs outside for ball 1. Wyatt 1 for 3 tonight, singled back in the 6th, extending that on-base streak to 10 consecutive ball games. Conlon wheels and deals. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball that catches the outside corner, and that evens at the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. 4-0 the score in favor of Chatham here with 1 away in the bottom of the 8th. He's going to need to put a couple runs on the scoreboard to stand a chance in the 9th inning. Conlon gets his sign from the catcher Taylor. Here's the 1-1. Fastball rolled over off the front foot of Wyatt, and now Conlon jumps ahead 1 ball and 2 strikes. Logan Wyatt trying to spark this Orleans offense like he's done so many times already this summer. He has struggled, however, in the month of July, just batting .207 after a .326 average through the first few weeks of the summer in June. So Wyatt digs back in from the left side. Conlon ahead of him 1-2. Here's the pitch from the right-hander. Fastball popped up into the shallow left field. The left fielder Simpson ranging on. He camps under it, can of corn, and makes the catch with his left-handed glove. 2 up, 2 down. Here to start the bottom of the 8th.
Again, Jack Conlon picking up right where Dan Hammer left off. Just such a strong outing out there on the bump for the Anglers. They're looking like such a poised team on the mound tonight against Orleans, and it really has been the difference in this ball game. Only 3 hits for the Firebirds, an offense that came into tonight feeling really good about themselves. They've been completely neutralized.
So Aldretti will dig in for the 4th time tonight. He's 1 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. First pitch. Breaking ball that runs outside for ball 1. Aldretti got the Orleans offense going, had 1 of the 3 hits with a double back in the first, but has been quiet ever since. Righty on righty matchup with 2 down in the home half of the 8th. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Conlon. Fastball lifted the other way down the right field line. Tailing towards the corner is Sable. He's on the edge of the track and makes the catch, and the side is retired. Another 1-2-3 inning for Jack Conlon, who was picked up right where Dan Hammer left off. We're at the top of the 9th here at Aldridge Park. Chatham on top of Orleans 4-0. Listen to the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network.
Chatham on top of Orleans, 4-0 as we head to the top of the 9th inning here at Eldridge Park. We'll have a new pinch hitter into the ball game for the Chatham Anglers, Adam Fogel. First pitch from Giacone, a fastball on the outside corner for strike one. Giacone back out for his 4th inning of work. Picking off for Shea Smitty, left off. 0-1 pitch, fastball that misses outside. That evens up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. That'll end the day for Kyle McCann, who just went 1 for 3. 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball cut on and missed. And now Giacone jumps ahead 1 ball and 2 strikes. The inaugural Friday from the Hill starting to come to a close here at Eldridge Park. Giacone ahead of Fogel 1-2. Right-hander rocks and fires. Here's the 1-2. Breaking ball weakly rolled over down the left field line and foul. So Fogel stays alive. Adam Fogel playing in his 18th game this summer for the Chatham A's. Just batting a $190 so far with no home runs and 2 RBIs. Left fielder from Hawaii digs back in the 1-2. Breaking ball in the dirt off the shoulder of Clark. And that evens up the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
We were just talking off air, the luxury Tom Holliday has with 16 position players. If you have someone that's cold at the plate or hasn't been producing on any given night, easy to go to a pinch hitter.
1-2 pitch. Fastball got him, strike 3. Giacone gets Fogel, the pinch hitter, for the first out of the inning. So now Blake Sable will dig in for the 4th time tonight. He's really been the storyline so far for the Anglers. Sable 2 for 2 today with a home run, a single. Also had a sac fly back in the 4th. So the right fielder from USC digs in from the left side. Chatham on top of Orleans 4-0. The pitch from Giacone. Fastball that misses outside for ball 1. New shortstop into the game for the Orleans Firebirds. It's Andrew Martinez, the 1-0. Breaking ball caught on and missed. And that'll even up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Sal Gazzo came out after getting pinch hit for by James Free II. Giacone in a battle here with Sable at 1-1. Shea Smitty was not able to figure him out earlier in the ballgame. The 1-1 pitch. Breaking ball that Sable's ahead of. And now Giacone jumps ahead 1-2. So Sable unstraps the batting gloves, representing the number 21 on the back of his blue jersey. Giacone ahead of him, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here's the 1-2 pitch from the right-hander. Breaking ball got him, strike 3. Back-to-back strikeouts for Corey Giacone, and there's 2 away in the top of the 9th.
Another fine pitch from Corey Giacone, just running away from the left-handed batter and Blake Sable, and he's just looks so strong, man. This is definitely the player of the game if you're Orleans so far. Obviously, the offense has been very cold, but Corey Giacone really the bright spot so far here tonight for the Firebirds.
First pitch from Giacone to Arenas. Fastball on the outside corner called strike 1. 3 2/3 innings pitched so far for the right-hander from southeastern Louisiana with a couple of Ks. Trying to fan the side here in the top of the 9th, the 0-1. Fastball that runs inside, and that evens at the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Arenas 0 for 2 tonight, grounded out in the 3rd, and then flew out in the 4th. 1-1 pitch, rolled over to the right side, gloved by the second baseman Aldretti. He'll toss to wide in time. And another 1-2-3 inning for Corey Giacone, who did a fantastic job out of the bullpen for the Firebirds, tossing 4 scoreless innings to keep the Birds in this ball game. We'll see if Orleans can get on the scoreboard and try and send this game into extras. Chatham leads Orleans 4-0. One last chance for the Firebirds. You're listening to the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network.
One last chance for the Orleans Firebirds with the Chatham Anglers on top of the Birds. 4-0 as we head to the home half of the ninth here at Eldridge Park. With the heart of the lineup for the Birds, J.J. Boudet, Nick Osborne, and Pat DeMarco set to face Jack Conlon, who's in to get his first save of the summer. Conlon entered the ballgame in the 7th inning, has tossed some dazzling innings so far, has not surrendered a Firebird hit. Boudet digs in from the left side, first pitch from the right-hander. Breaking ball that runs outside for ball 1. Boudet 1 for 3 tonight, had a double in the 6th, but was stranded out there. Conlon gets a sign from the catcher Taylor. Right-hander kicks and fires. Here's the 1-0. Fastball that runs low and inside at the shins of J.J. Boudet. Now Conlon falls behind 2 balls and no strikes. It's been a phenomenal pitching performance so far by the Chatham A's. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Fastball fouled back to the brick behind home plate. That'll make the count 2 balls and 1 strike. It was Dan Hammer who got things going for the Chatham Anglers, making his 5th appearance of the summer. Went 6 scoreless innings, just surrendering 3 hits. He's in line for his 2nd win so far in 2018. Conlon trying to pick up the 9-out save to register his first save. 2-1 pitch. Fastball that runs up and away. Good hitters count now for J.J. Boudet at 3 balls and 1 strike.
Your Orleans right now, you're down by 4, bottom of the 9th inning. You just got to worry about getting runners on base. A walk is as good as a hit at this point.
Conlon stares in for his sign, rocks and fires. Here's the 3-1. Fastball that catches the outside corner at the knees of Boudet. That'll run the count full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Quiet night for the Firebirds offensively. Just 3 hits so far. 1 for Aldretti, 1 for Boudet, and 1 for Logan Wyatt. Here's the path pitch from Conlon. Breaking ball that runs inside, ball 4, and J.J. Boudet works the first walk of the night for the Firebirds, and he's aboard to lead things off in the home half of the ninth.
Hey, it's a start. That's exactly what you need to do. You can't come back from 4 runs down if you don't have runners aboard, and now you have a guy in Nick Osborne who can cut this lead in half with 1 swing of the bat.
So now Osborne digs in from the right side. DH from Tennessee Tech, 0 for 2 tonight, but reached base after getting hit by the pitch in the 4th. So Conlon will work out of the stretch for the first time tonight. Right-hander from the first base side comes set. Here's the first pitch. Fastball on the inside corner, called strike 1. Chatham 4, Orleans nothing in the home half of the ninth at Eldridge Park. Firebirds trying to avoid dropping this game. It'd be the first loss of the summer to the Chatham A's and the 4th consecutive loss during this losing streak. Boudet leads off first base. Here's the 0-1. Fastball fouled back to the screen. And now Conlon quickly jumps ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. 6'2", rising senior from Tennessee, trying to be the hero right here for the Birds and extend this inning. As good as Nick Osborne has been this summer, he's struggled against the Chatham pitching staff, just 1 for his first 14. Long stare in from the right-hander who now comes set with the hands near the head. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball fought off by Osborne onto Route 28 here in Orleans, Massachusetts. And we'll do it again at no balls and 2 strikes.
And Osborne just hasn't really looked comfortable in the batter's box yet tonight. And that sometimes is the case. He's been so hot that you expect him just to be tuned in on everything. But more credit to the Chatham pitching staff.
So Osborne will try and battle back and reach base for the 2nd time tonight. Conlon comes set on the hill with action going in the Anglers bullpen. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Fastball lifted high and deep to left field. Simpson ranging back. He's at the track up against the fence, and he makes the catch. Nick Osborne just got under that baseball after towering it off the bat, but he'll walk back slowly to the dugout for the first out of the bottom of the ninth.
That's the deepest fly ball I've seen that is that high all year long. Osborne literally crushed a home run in an elevator shaft, and even though it was so high, still almost went to the warning track. Unfortunately for Orleans, that's all it went, and it's just allowed out.
So Pat DeMarco will try and extend this game now with 1 down in the home half of the ninth. First pitch. Fastball rocketed down the right field line. Sable ranging towards the corner. Has room and makes the catch in fair territory. So a couple loud outs here for the Orleans Firebirds in the bottom of the ninth, but no avail. As now Orleans down to their final out here at Eldridge Park. So Chatham leading Orleans 4-0 with 2 down in the bottom of the ninth. One last chance for the Firebirds in the form of Phil Clark. Quiet night for Phil for the Birds after having a great performance last night at YD. Clark 0 for 3 tonight with a strikeout as well. Righty on lefty matchup here as Conlon comes set. Right-hander set at the belt. Here's the first pitch. Breaking ball in the dirt. Nice stop by the catcher, Taylor, for ball 1. Firebirds are going to need to try and score 4 here in the inning. A home run right here would not do it just yet, with only J.J. Boudet on base, reaching on that full count walk. Conlon checks on Boudet, who's being held on by the first baseman McCann. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fastball fouled back into the forest here behind home plate. And that evens up the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. Overall, a good pitching night for the Firebirds, just holding the opposition to 4 runs. But the Orleans offense not picking up their end of the slack, just with 3 combined hits. Conlon trying to toss the 4th shutout of the season for the English, the 1-1. Fastball that misses outside, and that'll make the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Anglers ranked 3rd in the CCBL in shutouts with 3, just 1 behind Harwich and Orleans, in first place with 4. Boudet leads off first base. Clark back in from the left side. Right-hander Conlon comes set. Here's the 2-1. Fastball lifted on the left side of the infield. Should be playable for Arenas. He throws the glove up in the air and makes the catch, and the ball game is over. The Chatham A's able to storm back and beat Orleans for the first time this summer, 4-0 here at Eldridge Park in the inaugural edition of Friday from the Hill. And the Birds' struggles continue as Orleans has now dropped their 4th consecutive ball game, dropping to 10-17-1 as the Anglers advance to 14-12-2.
A lot of credit needs to be given to the Chatham pitching staff, but for Orleans, just not the night you want offensively. The AB's just not sound, and like you said, another disappointing night for the Firebirds, now losers of 4 straight, and the lowest point they've had all season, 7 games under 500 now. And if you're Orleans, luckily, or, you know, in this case, could be a bad side. This is a season where you play every single day, so you're back at the yard tomorrow night. All you got to do is try to move on and recover from this stretch because it's been a very low point right now for the Firebirds.
So Dan Hammer advances to 2-0 as Shea Smitty drops to 1-1. Picking up his first save of the summer is the right-hander from Texas A&M, Jack Conlon. Tough night to be at the yard if you're an Orleans Firebirds fan. And they just only mount 3 hits offensively. As Chatham scores 4 runs on 8 hits, 2 errors. For the Firebirds, it's no runs on 3 hits and 1 error. As our sideline reporter, Eliav Gabay, standing by and waiting for the right-hander from southeastern Louisiana, Corey Giacone, who was really the story of the night and the lone bright spot for Orleans. Shea Smitty did a solid job making his first start of the summer, but it was Giacone that shined out of the pen. 4 scoreless innings with a couple of strikeouts to show for it as well.
Yeah, and like you said, it was kind of tough to pick an offensive player for Orleans that really excelled, but the easy one is Giacone. He deserves the interview without a doubt, and you know, at this point of the season for the Firebirds, you're kind of digging for that one bright spot, the way to spin this game, and Giacone clearly is that guy tonight. But wins got to start coming for this team at some point. I know they're safely ahead of Brewster for now, but if you keep losing games and give somebody else an opportunity to come back and take that playoff spot away from you, that's definitely something that can happen. And Brewster's a team that, you know, is playing good ball right now. They've been somewhat hot as of late, and Orleans simply just needs to get it together before it's too late.
We talk about that battle in the East Division. The Brewster Whitecaps currently tied with the Harwich Mariners in the top of the 10th. We'll look around the rest of the league as we have a moment here. The Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox beat Falmouth 4-2 in an interleague matchup. Hyannis coming out on top of Bourne at Doran Park 5-2. The Wareham Gatemen beating up on the Catuit Kettleers 8-2 on the western part of the Cape. And right here in Orleans, Chatham coming out on top of the Firebirds 4-0. The first victory of the summer for Tom Holliday in his career against Kelly Nicholson after really the Firebirds had dominated those first 3 matchups and was really propelled by the pitching staff, holding Chatham just to 3 runs after 2 scoreless outings.
Yep, same story, different side tonight, as pitching has been the name of the game so far in this season series, but tonight it was the Chatham A's that really just did it all. Defensively, pitching, and then came up with some clutch hitting early on in this game. And, you know, in retrospect, all they needed was 1 run, but the offense came through at the right times for them early on and really padded the way they've been playing. And so we'll speak with Corey Giacone in a moment, but, you know, the offense just didn't get it done, obviously, tonight for Orleans, and that led to a very disappointing loss for the Birds.
So a 4-0 loss in a 2-hour and 11-minute ball game as our sideline reporter Eliav Gabai gets set to talk with Corey Giacone after another tremendous outing from the Southeastern Louisiana Lion right-hander. And we'll toss it over to Eliav, standing by with Corey Giacone. Take it away, Eliav.
Thanks, guys. All right, Corey, you had 4 scoreless innings tonight. Why were you so comfortable?
I mean, I just came out feeling good in the pen, just looking to pound the zone. I mean, that's really all I focus on, keeping the ball down in the zone, throwing strikes, and letting my defense play behind me.
Now, when you do come in from the pen and the score is against you, how do you just keep your mind on the moment?
I mean, really just got to stay focused and treat it as if it's a tie ball game, and really just, focus on pounding the zone, working ahead, getting on top, and making quality pitches. And no matter what the score is, you're always looking up to throw some zeros, kind of get the momentum back to your side if you are losing. That's what I just tried to do tonight.
Now, you had an array of pitches tonight. I couldn't really tell even what was your out pitch. So what was your out pitch, and how do you implement that into your repertoire?
I kind of just had everything going for me today for the most part. Save the changeup for late, but everything really just fastball, curveball, and keeping it down in the zone, and they were hitting it. But, it was to our guys, and thought I made a lot of good quality pitches tonight.
Well, I can agree with that. Well, back to you guys. Thanks, Corey.
All righty, thank you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Fantastic stuff from Eliav. Always great to hear Corey Giacone talk about another tremendous outing from him. We'll be joined by Logan Wyatt, the Birds' first baseman tonight, hitting in the leadoff spot. Once again, Chatham beats Orleans 4-0. We'll step aside for a short break and be joined by the Orleans first baseman. You'll listen to the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. Welcome back to Eldridge Park. The Firebirds fall 4-0 to the Chatham Anglers for the first time this summer. Joining me now is the Birds' first baseman, Logan Wyatt. Obviously, Logan, the offense not really there for the squad, just 3 combined hits. You had one of them. What was so effective for the Chatham pitching staff tonight?
They just got the ball in the zone early. It seems like every at bat they got the first pitch strike, so they were just being aggressive in the zone, and I think a few of us got behind in some counts. They got us where they want us, so that's how it went tonight.
As a squad, obviously, you guys aren't playing your best baseball right now. 4
straight losses, but an interesting decision by Kelly Nicholson, shaking up the lineup, trying to make something happen. You batted in the leadoff spot tonight after hitting cleanup for the first 25 games.
Yeah.
Obviously, you had never hit in that spot before. I spoke to you 30 minutes before the game. I asked you even in middle school, elementary school, T-ball, you said you've never done it. What was that experience like in the leadoff spot?
It's definitely different because you're the first guy going up to hit. So I mean, it's like as soon as the game starts, like you got to get ready to go. So it's definitely different, but I feel like in that position you got to be somewhat aggressive. So it's kind of different than being the 4-hole, but not too much different, but it is the same time. So it's not. Yeah.
Which one do you like better?
I don't know. That was the first time, so I haven't got too much experience, but can't be that much different.
You made a fantastic defensive play tonight, diving to your right side, stopping that baseball. What did you see on that ball hit to your right side?
It was kind of choppy, so I knew I had a decent chance on it, so I just went for it, ended up getting it. So
obviously trying to get back on track tomorrow night here at home against the Bourne Braves. What's the key to picking up that victory?
The key for Bourne is to be effective in the zone. Just be aggressive, those strikes, because they can swing it a little bit. So I think if we do that, we'll be good. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for the time, Logan. Really appreciate it. Logan Wyatt coming off a 1-for-4 night, extending his on-base streak to 10 consecutive games. We'll be back at it tomorrow night here at Eldridge Park as the Firebirds take on the Bourne Braves here at home for the Firebirds. The final here at Eldridge Park, Chatham 4, Orleans nothing. With first pitch beginning at 7 o'clock tomorrow night against Bourne on a Saturday night here at Eldridge Park. We'll get things started at 6:45 with the OFBN pregame show. So for Braden Bell, I'm Josh White and the rest of our OFBN crew saying so long from the inaugural edition of Friday from the Hill. This has been Orleans Firebirds Baseball on the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network.